Chapter 15:12. The limits of the world. Emperor Dong looked at the Watcher's father. He was wondering who he really was. Did the Watcher's father really know the truth, or was he bluffing? Humph, the Watcher's father smirked. Then he said, "Did you think hiding in an empty space battlefield was useful? I don't even need to fight myself," said the Watcher's father. Emperor Dong looked petrified. The Watcher's father hadn't fooled him, he knew about it all. Boom boom! The ground broke apart. At the same time, a few people emerged from the ground. Emperor Tianlong! The crowd saw Emperor Tianlong emerge. The Watcher's father is right. Emperor Tianlong is hiding inside the Qi clan, which means that the Qi clan are also members of the Imperial Assassin Union. In the ruins, Emperor Tianlong appeared and a few assassins in black clothes. There were also other emperors, the Six Desires Empress, the Assassin Emperor, the Celestial Thunder Temple's Emperor, and the Fairyland of the Nine Songs Emperor. Who invited them? The Watcher's father or Emperor Yu? Thought the crowd. That battle was no longer about Tian Tai and the Qi clan. It was about Ba Huang and the Imperial Assassin Union. Were you waiting for him in the empty space battlefield? Asked Emperor Dong. His voice carried threads of golden energies. He glanced at the four emperors. Emperor Dong had informed Emperor Tianlong, who was hiding in the empty space, about the situation, and told him to leave. However, the ground exploded, and all the strong cultivators appeared. Luckily, I was prepared, so even if you told him to leave, I'd catch you, said the Watcher's father. You must have left something on his body last time when you were in Tianlong Divine Castle, said Emperor Dong. He was full of doubt. Could the Watcher's father gather all the emperors of Ba Huang together like that? Emperor Tianlong remembered back to his battle against the Watcher's father. Had the Watcher's father left a memory on his body? How could he have done that silently and intangibly? Wouldn't he have found out about it by now? It's not important. What's important now is that I am sure that the Qi clan and the Xikong clan are the leaders of the Imperial Assassin Union. Then, Emperor Tianlong and Emperor Dan decided to join them. Am I right, everyone? Asked the Watcher's father. Emperor Dan, you poisoned everyone. If you hadn't helped, then emperors wouldn't have died, said the Great Ape Emperor extremely loudly. Emperor Dan's mouth twitched, but then he controlled himself and said indifferently, "The disciples from the celestial land of alchemists didn't know that I had participated. We will go to the celestial land of alchemists and make everyone disperse," said the Assassin Emperor. Emperor Dan shivered and glanced at the Assassin Emperor, but then he sighed. The people from the Xikong clan didn't know either, said the Emperor of the Xikong clan. Humph, the old emperor groaned coldly and said, "The Xikong clan and the Qi clan are the same. They're both core members of the Imperial Assassin Union." The emperor from the Xikong clan looked at the old emperor, using his celestial vision, and said, "Do you want to fight? Do you know who the old emperor is?" asked the Watcher's father. The emperor of the Xikong clan frowned and said, "Who?" The crowd was surprised. Did the old emperor have another social status? The Watcher's father grinned as he talked to the emperor of the Xikong clan using telepathy. The emperor of the Xikong clan suddenly looked astonished. He suddenly stopped using his celestial vision, but it was useless. They were not going to let the Xikong clan off anyways. "Old emperor, you're really going to die," said the emperor of the Xikong clan, smiling in a cold way. Then he started running away. Dizzy. He used his celestial vision, and the space around him became distorted. A curtain of energies enveloped him, and then a vortex. The emperor of the Xikong clan ran towards that vortex. The Xikong clan would probably become a target now, so he had to leave. Suddenly a black fiery vortex appeared and surrounded the emperor of the Xikong clan. "Piss off!" shouted the emperor of the Xikong clan using his celestial vision again. The space became distorted again, and the flames moved aside. However, two demonic eyes appeared from within the vortex, forcing him back. The emperor of the Xikong clan used his hands to cover his eyes, which felt extremely sore. Then he yelled at the one in the vortex. "Who the hell are you? Come out!" "Another emperor?" The crowd was awestruck. Who else could be there? The emperor of the Xikong clan was a medium-level emperor, but surprisingly, someone had hurt him. Your son was killed at the banquet in the Qi Empire. The Watchers killed him if you remember. Don't you want to avenge him? Why do you want to leave? Asked the Watcher's father hoarsely. Those words hurt him deep down. He hadn't been able to save Emperor Sikong. Brother, are we really leaving? Asked Wuxia to Muchen. We're in a hurry. Do you not feel like leaving? Asked Muchen to Wuxia, smiling indifferently. They were still flying in Shuri's direction though. The sun was shining upon them, and it felt warm. Lin Feng had the sensation that the sun was getting closer and closer. He knew that he would leave that small world sooner or later, but it was so sudden now. They were rising higher and higher up. Just like the day when Yendi had emerged from the small world, the energies were beautiful. Lin Feng turned around once. This time, he knew that they were going to leave the small world for real. They were going to go to the real world. Mu Chen glanced at everyone. Mu Chen's force was already multiplied by 1,000. So Lin Feng was wondering why Mu Chen still hadn't broken through to the Huangqi layer? Finally, a sunny castle appeared, and it was scorching hot. Mu Chen protected them. Feng Xian and some of the other weaker cultivators would have died otherwise. Chapter 15:13. Two emperors fall, let's go inside, said Mu Chen, bringing everyone into the ancient castle. Is that sun the path to the holy city? Thought Lin Feng and the others. There was a statue which looked like a statue of the messenger. It even looked alive. Your Highness the messenger, shouted Mu Chen to the statue. His voice echoed against the castle walls. Suddenly the statue moved. Mu Chen was waiting for something to happen. A short time after, some lights dazzled. The messenger's statue became bright as some vitality appeared inside it. After it finished moving, the dazzling lights faded away. Your Highness the messenger. Mu Chen bowed before the messenger. They wanted to go to the holy city, so they had to give him face and act polite. What do you want? Asked the statue. Lin Feng and the others were unhappy by his demeanor. Since they were there, what else could they want? Your Highness the messenger, we came with fate seeds. We want to go to the holy city. Can you let us pass, please? Asked Mu Chen. He didn't show how displeased he was. I don't have time today. Another day, said the messenger firmly. Your Highness the messenger, we're in a hurry. Please let us pass, said Mu Chen calmly. I told you to come back another day, said the messenger in a cold way. Everybody was astonished, even furious. Your Highness the messenger, you're the protector of that corridor. You must stay responsible, said Mu Chen. Then, someone suddenly appeared in front of him. It was the messenger himself. The messenger released a cold chi. I don't have time today, so piss off. A strong wind brushed against everybody's bodies as they were pushed backwards. A terrifying strength oppressed them. But Mu Chen used force to protect his friends. The messenger just smiled indifferently and said, Next time you come, watch your words. Then, he went back into the statue of himself, and his chi disappeared. No time. The crowd was astonished. How was that possible? Mu Chen had been very polite until the messenger refused. Brother, shouted Lin Feng. I'm all right, said Mu Chen to Lin Feng. Mu Chen looked calm and serene again. Then he said to the crowd, Let's go back. Mu Chen released more force to protect everybody as they left the castle. The Qi clan's territory was already wrecked, and there were ruins of buildings and trees everywhere. Emperor Dong, the emperor of the Sikong clan, Emperor Wen's father, and the old emperor of the celestial palace of the immortals, had finished their great war, and were gone already. Emperor Qi was the fastest one with his empty space energy. So once Emperor Dong and the others were fighting, he had started escaping. Emperor Tianlong turned into a dragon. Although he looked strong and powerful, he was already soaked with blood. Another emperor is going to fall today, thought the crowd who was still in the distance. The Watchers were fighting against the assassins of the Imperial Assassin Union. Emperor Dong and the 4 others were fighting in an empty space. The other emperors were taking care of Emperor Tianlong and Emperor Dan. Trying to kill all the emperors at once wasn't the best solution. It was more difficult, and it gave them more chances to escape. So that's why they were focusing on Emperors Tianlong and Dan. Emperor Yan, let's go and kill him, said the great ape emperor to the Taoist monk Yendi. Call me Yendi, shouted Yendi. The great ape emperor rolled his eyes and said, Alright Yin, let's attack together. He won't be able to withstand our attacks if we do. Emperor Tianlong used a mysterious cosmic energy after turning into a dragon, which made his defenses even more amazing. He was surrounded by Emperor 1, the Great Ape Emperor, Yin and Emperor Yu. Emperor 1 had sealed the space, so Emperor Tianlong couldn't escape. At least, the Assassin Emperor, the Six Desires Emperor, the Celestial Thunder Temple's Emperor, and the others were fighting against Emperor Dan. Emperor Dan had mysterious attacks, including types of poisoning attacks. In front of such a powerful army, Emperor Dan and Emperor Tianlong couldn't do much. Bees is easy. The Great Ape Emperor started attacking with his gigantic wooden stick. Strength, Gigantic Destruction Rod Spell, Sky Destructive Strength. Emperor Tianlong raised his head and shouted. Emperor Wen smiled coldly and said, Emperor Yu. // The stick turned into very sharp blades which sufficed to make almost anyone suffocate. Emperor Tianlong started flying away, but the space suddenly shook and energies crashed onto his body, causing blood to splash. Emperor Tianlong gave a horrible shriek and started shaking convulsively. He was forced back into a human form again. Some more chi appeared above his head, and he released strength in his hand, but some marks appeared in front of him which turned into a black fire, which easily burnt his hand. Destroy! A finger crashed onto Emperor Tianlong's third eye. Then his head started burning. Cosmic strength moved throughout Emperor Tianlong's body. The Taoist monk moved backwards, joined his hands together, and said, You can proud to be killed by me. Emperor Tianlong didn't want to die. On the other side, the Assassin Emperor's sword pierced through Emperor Dan's head and cosmic energies dispersed. The two emperors died at the same time. 2 more emperors died, thought the crowd. Lin Feng and the others came back just as Emperor Tianlong and Emperor Dan died. Chapter 15:14. A mysterious assassin on the road. How come you're back? Asked the Assassin Emperor. There was also a disciple from the abyss of sufferings in their group. The messenger hit us and made us leave. He said he had no time. Said the Assassin Emperor's disciple. No time. The Assassin Emperor looked furious. He glanced at Mu Chun and the others as well as Emperor Yu. Many emperors looked at Emperor Yu and the Watcher's father. They trusted Emperor Yu even more. The Sikong clan's territory was wrecked. There were corpses everywhere. On top of that, some people were actively stealing the Sikong clan's treasures. When they saw the emperor land, they turned frightfully pale and started running away. Ba Huang. Boom! The area around the emperor of the Sikong clan suddenly darkened. While he was fighting against the emperors, some people had come and killed the Sikong clan's members. None were left. After Emperor Sikong died, since he wasn't there, nobody could protect the Sikong clan from such an onslaught. There were so many corpses on the ground and blood. Even though those people were extremely strong, it hurt more knowing that they had his blood. Those were his grandsons. But now they were dead. I'll kill you all, shouted the old emperor of the Sikong clan. // The old emperor of the Sikong clan killed some people out of anger. Those people dared steal the Sikong clan's treasures. They deserved to die. Those who weren't dead turned deathly pale and rose up in the air. They wanted to escape, but they couldn't. The old emperor of the Sikong clan used his celestial vision, and corpses fell from the sky. After killing everyone, the old emperor left. His face looked hideous, and he was furious. Why had he made all his people go to that small world? Of course, he couldn't know that someone would destroy his clan. So many things had happened in the Bahuang province in such a short amount of time. The Qi clan and the Sikong clan were part of the Imperial Assassin Union. Besides, Emperor Tianlong and Emperor Dan had joined them later and had died because of it. The Sikong clan was destroyed. All its people were killed. The celestial land of alchemists' emperor was dead, so its disciples dispersed. Many of their alchemy spells ended up in robbers' hands. Some evil cultivators had also kidnapped some of the very beautiful women as well. Because of Emperor Dan, the celestial land of alchemists was wiped off the map. In the eastern part of Bahuang, in Shiri City, a young man was walking slowly through a crowd. He looked ordinary except that he had a black cloak on, and his eyes were pitch black. So many people came to Ba Huang, thought Lin Feng. He had put on a mask and was surveying the ruins of the Qi clan. He looked around and saw that there were many young people, but their qi was incredible. Lin Feng recognized some young people from the holy city, for example Zhou Tianrua. He was next to a man who was wearing a golden robe. Brother, when we go back, I will practice cultivation diligently and break through to the Huang Qi layer, said Zhou Tianrua confidently. His brother had heard that he was defeated by a cultivator of the 6th Zun Qi layer, which was a humiliation to their family. So now his big brother wanted to teach him a lesson. You understand that much, good. You shouldn't act arrogantly anymore. If you continue, Guli will get rid of you. When we go back, you should practice cultivation as you've said, and you shouldn't go abroad again, said the young man in the golden robe calmly. He knew that Zhou Tianrua needed time to break through to the Huang Qi layer. First, he had to reach the very top of the Zun Qi layer. He also needed to control cosmic energies, and his force had to be 1,000 times stronger. Brother, I will practice as hard as I can, said Zhou Tianrua. He seemed to fear his brother. Zhou Tianshao nodded, then his eyes twinkled as he said, even though you can only blame yourself for what happened, who defeated you? What's his name? His name is Lin Feng, said Zhou Tianrua. If I have the opportunity, I will help you. Do you want to kill him? Or cripple his cultivation? Or just humiliate him? Asked Zhou Tianshao. Kill him, said Zhou Tianrua without hesitation. If he didn't have an imperial weapon, Lin Feng would have killed him. Therefore, he didn't want to be merciful. He wanted his brother to kill Lin Feng. Zhou Tianshao looked disappointed after he heard Zhou Tianrua. He had hoped that Zhou Tianrua would tell him he didn't need any help. He hoped Zhou Tianrua would fight against Lin Feng on his own in the future. But of course, even though he was disappointed, he nodded. He would help his brother. They didn't try to be discreet. Lin Feng even heard them in the distance. He seems strong, but I don't know how strong he is. Maybe he's a cultivator at the very top of the Zun Qi layer, thought Lin Feng. He slowly turned around and walked towards Shiri City. The Qi clan wasn't residing in Shiri City anymore, so more people were visiting now. We have to wait for Mu Chen's news. I wonder when he'll come to find me, thought Lin Feng. Since the messenger had kicked them out, leaving Ba Huang would be difficult. Even with fate seeds, he had refused to let them pass. Lin Feng was walking slowly, looking pensive. However, at that moment he sensed energies surround him. Lin Feng was forced to stop, because that strength was a force multiplied by 1,000. Who's that? Thought Lin Feng. His eyes turned black as he stared at a cultivator, who was at the very top of the Zun Qi layer. Chapter 15:15. Lin Feng's strange experience. The energies surrounded him, but he had an empty space robe. Suddenly, he disappeared and reappeared again, 1,000 meters away. However, Lin Feng was surprised because even though he was far away, the energies still surrounded his body. At the same time, the energies were getting closer and closer. Lin Feng was wondering if it was the first or the second assassin. The strongest assassin he had met so far was the third one, but the first and second would certainly be strong as well. The energies were getting closer, and then a wind brushed against his body. Lin Feng released wind and empty space abstruse energies to run. At the same time, he released earth abstruse energy to protect his body. Dong! Lin Feng heard a sound. His heart started racing, as if it was going to jump out of his chest. At the same time, his armor started crackling. His empty space and wind abstruse energies also broke apart. Boom! Lin Feng released demonic qi this time. He also released force, which was multiplied by 600. Dong! The ground shook and Lin Feng felt like he was going to be crushed again. Many people were watching Lin Feng. They sensed that his qi was incredible. So what was putting so much pressure on him? They couldn't see it, but Lin Feng was sweating. Dong! Lin Feng's heart was racing, fearful that he was going to be crushed alive. Boom! Lin Feng jumped and released sword qi. Then, Lin Feng's body progressively turned black. His pitch-black eyes were filled with a deep darkness. When he glanced around, people would avoid looking at him. What an aggressive qi! Who could attack such a strong cultivator? Thought the crowd. Demonic qi. Emperor Wu Tianjian's cultivation type, Pitch black eyes, that's Lin Feng, shouted someone suddenly. Indeed, that's Lin Feng, thought the crowd. Someone wanted to kill Lin Feng. You can't defeat me, said a voice in Lin Feng's brain. That person was trying to ruin Lin Feng's confidence. Slash slash. Sword energies lacerated the space around him. The crowd moved away, fearing they'd get caught up in the fight. You're already dead to me, said a voice. Lin Feng's face became distorted. He released energies, but he couldn't block the attack. One more step and he might die. Was he going to die? He didn't even know who was attacking him. Lin Feng suddenly felt sad and desperate. He hadn't felt like that for a very long time. No, I still have the Jade Emperor's palace, thought Lin Feng. He couldn't give up because he didn't want to die. He still had so many things to do. And he had a wonderful family. Piss off, all of you, shouted Lin Feng, furiously glancing around at the crowd. The crowd was surprised, but many of them ran away. Lin Feng suddenly turned around, jumped forwards, released as much demonic and sword chi as he could. All the buildings around broke apart. Die, said a cold voice. His face turned deathly pale. Where was the assassin? Behind him? Come out, shouted Lin Feng, sounding like a demon. A gigantic hand condensed in the sky and moved towards Lin Feng. Even if he took out the Jade Emperor's palace, he'd die. He couldn't escape that attack. Arg! Demon energies rolled in waves, and a demon king appeared behind him. Lin Feng's demonic determination was changing. He's leveling up. The crowd in the distance was amazed. Lin Feng had just broken through to the 7th Zun Qi layer. In such a perilous situation. Lin Feng still couldn't resist those energies though. Breaking through to the 7th Zun Qi layer, and dying a few minutes later would be even more tragic. It's him. Lin Feng saw Zhou Tianrua and his brother in the distance. Brother, it's him. Kill him, said Zhou Tianxiao suddenly. Zhou Tianxiao frowned. Lin Feng looked like he was in danger, so attacking him was useless. He glanced around, but he couldn't see who was attacking Lin Feng. Bzzz. At that moment, someone appeared in the crowd and ran towards Lin Feng. Zhou Tianxiao fixedly stared at him. Then someone flew in front of Lin Feng, grabbed him, and started leaving. The crowd was intrigued. Zhou Tianxiao was dumbstruck, but then he suddenly thought about something and chased them. A few seconds later, Zhou Tianxiao was in the sky alone. He hadn't managed to catch up with them. Zhou Tianrua arrived behind and said, Brother, what's going on? Zhou Tianxiao shook his head. He didn't understand either. Lin Feng didn't understand either. They made it to a mountain range before the person put him down. He smiled wryly and shook his head. Brother, you scared me to death. I noticed that your cultivation was stuck at the top of the 6th Zun Qi layer. So I had to help you. The assassin's energies which Lin Feng had sensed were Mu Chen's. Thank you, brother, said Lin Feng. He was ultimately happy in the end. You don't need to thank me. You leveled up thanks to your own abilities. I just guided you a little, said Mu Chen, smiling. Some luck and determination had been necessary for Lin Feng to break through to the 7th Zun Qi layer. Mu Chen knew how difficult it was to be stuck at a certain level. Mu Chen had just tried to help Lin Feng, and it had worked. Lin Feng still had a long way to go though. Chapter 15-16. Violating rules, brother. I'm now a cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer, said Lin Feng, smiling. He released strength and smiled. You want to try and have a fight? Said Mu Chen. Lin Feng was surprised and shrugged. Don't bully younger disciples. I'll control my strength, said Mu Chen. He wasn't joking, so Lin Feng wanted to fight now. All right, said Lin Feng. If Mu Chen wanted to challenge him, why not? Even though Lin Feng was now a cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer, he sighed on the inside because Mu Chen was so strong. He was gifted at hiding it too. If Mu Chen wanted to kill Lin Feng without being seen, it would be very easy. You can attack me, but don't control yourself, said Mu Chen. Lin Feng nodded and released demonic energies immediately. Lin Feng couldn't sense Mu Chen's qi. It was as if Mu Chen didn't exist. Suddenly, Lin Feng jumped forwards and used his deadly demon punch. Mu Chen raised his fist nonchalantly, and his strength turned into 1,000 threads of force. Break, said Mu Chen. Lin Feng's aggressive deadly demon punch dispersed instantly. Lin Feng was incredulous, But he didn't stop. This time he raised both fists and used deadly demon punches, in which he condensed force into. Mu Chen looked indifferent. He just raised his fists again and blocked them. Lin Feng released sword energy and slashed ahead of him. Slash slash. Mu Chen didn't dodge. His threads of energies destroyed Lin Feng's attack. But more threads of Lin Feng's energy moved towards him. Then, Mu Chen destroyed the remaining energies with his fists. Mu Chen smiled and raised his hands, collided against Lin Feng's fists. Lin Feng felt that his soul was going to get kicked out of his body. He was shaking violently, and was violently propelled backwards. Brother, you understand soul strength. Lin Feng realized. No wonder Mu Chen was an adept at hiding. He knew the intensity of each thread of energy, so he knew how to react. Yes, your attacks are quite strong now. You can make them even better though, said Mu Chen. In the eastern part of Bahuang, at the limits of the world, the messenger and Emperor Dong were in the Sun Castle. Your Highness the Messenger, thank you for helping me, said Emperor Dong politely. Don't worry, I promised you that I'd do it, said the messenger nodding. Emperor Dong smiled and took out a ring. Your Highness the Messenger, a gift from the Qi clan. The messenger took the ring and said, even though I don't involve myself in the small world's affairs, I am in charge of this passage. Nobody can go against my will here. Of course, said Emperor Dong smiling. Your Highness the Messenger, you can change the destiny of this small world. Indeed, said the messenger smiling. He was satisfied with the praise. Emperor Dong then left. I'm leaving, Your Highness the Messenger. Emperor Dong then left the castle. After Emperor Dong left, the messenger walked to the sun pattern in the palace, and a counterforce rolled in waves. Lin Feng and Mu Chen were still practicing in the mountain range. Lin Feng was sweating, but he was having a lot of fun. It seemed like the sun was going to fall from the sky. It was scorching hot as hit their backs. Mu Chen frowned. The sun was getting nearer and nearer before two gigantic golden words appeared in the sky. 30 days. How audacious, thought Mu Chen, seemingly furious. The messenger was stealing the sky and putting up a sham sun. He was violating the rules of the small world. Brother, what's going on? Lin Feng didn't understand. What was that? Everybody in the small world could see that. Only the messenger can do that, because he controls star date strength. He's telling us that we have to go to the holy city within 30 days. Otherwise he's going to close the passage, said Mu Chen in a cold way. Lin Feng became upset after hearing this. Last time they wanted to go to the holy city, but the messenger had refused. Did he intend to prevent them from going? Everybody in Bahuang and Jiuyu saw that. In some places where it was initially raining, the rain stopped, and they instead saw those gigantic golden words. Ordinary people were speechless. What kind of strong cultivator was that? How could he write in the sky? Bastard! Emperor Yu was with some disciples, but he stopped and cursed out loud. The disciples were surprised. How come Emperor Yu was so upset? Emperor Dong also saw that. He was smiling indifferently and thought, the messenger has been in charge of the small world for such a long time. He's becoming even more audacious. In the Celestial Walls Manor in Jiuyu, the old man raised his head, and his facial expression suddenly changed. He frowned as he said, how audacious! He dares violate the rules. Yun Fei Yang and Bei Yin stood next to the old man. Bei Yin asked, what's going on, teacher? Someone is violating the rules of this small world, said the old man. He controlled himself and tried to look calm again. Then he said, I wanted to help you become stronger at your own pace, but now we can't because we must hurry. The old man rolled up his sleeves and took Yun Fei Yang and Bei Yin away. Chapter 15-17. Emperor Dong's Revenge. Emperor Dong was resting in the Qitian Mountain in Shiri City. He took out a mirror, which possessed a terrifying empty space strength. Go! Suddenly, he shook his hand, and the mirror shot up into the sky. The ancient mirror diffused ice-cold lights as it fused together with the sky and disappeared. A light appeared in Emperor Dong's godly awareness. It was Emperor Yu's silhouette. He condensed that silhouette with his godly awareness and made it fuse together with the mirror. In the distance, Mu Chen and Lin Feng were flying, but suddenly Mu Chen stopped and raised his head. Some lights were shining upon them with a strange type of qi. Lin Feng sensed something too and raised his head. However, Mu Chen didn't see anything, and Lin Feng couldn't either. They shook their heads, because they didn't know what was going on. Back in Shiri City, many strong cultivators saw those lights, and they didn't understand either. That mirror was moving too fast. It was moving even faster than some of the strongest cultivators they had ever seen. In a small abandoned village, Emperor Yu was teaching Xingzhan some cultivation principles. Strength is good, but you need to be faster, otherwise, you'll be in danger if you meet cultivators who are stronger than you, said Emperor Yu to Xingzhan. Xingzhan was a beast. His attacks were explosive and powerful, but he was too slow. I understand. Xingzhan nodded. Emperor Yu smiled. You can go have a rest. Tianqi, come here. All right. Tianqi was seated near them. He smiled and walked to Emperor Yu. But at that moment, Emperor Yu raised his head and saw some flashing lights. Teacher, what's going on? Asked Tianqi. Emperor Yu frowned. He couldn't see anything, so he just shook his head. However, at that moment, Emperor Dong found Emperor Yu and his disciples. Emperor Yu, you're going to die. Emperor Dong rose up in the air, pulled his mirror away and streaked across the sky. Emperor Yu didn't know what was going on, so he continued teaching his disciples. Suddenly, Emperor Yu sensed some terrifying energies. His facial expression changed drastically as he shouted furiously, "Go, everybody, go!" Boom! The space around them exploded as meteorites fell from the sky. Then, Emperor Yu jumped into a crater with his disciples. Boom, boom, boom! The ground exploded in several different places. Then Emperor Dong appeared. He immediately punched the air in Emperor Yu's direction. Teacher, go! After the disciples saw Emperor Dong, they understood why Emperor Yu was panicking. Their faces also turned deathly pale. Piss off, all of you! Emperor Yu jumped forwards and sealed the space. Emperor Yu could only help his disciples escape. He had no other choice. Boom! A terrifying strength oppressed them, causing the ground to crack. Emperor Yu's stone armor was breaking apart, and he was bleeding. Emperor's force was multiplied by 1,000. Therefore, for emperors, the earth and sky were not a problem. However, medium-level emperors controlled cosmic energies even better. Emperor Yu was a low-level emperor, and knew he couldn't compete with a medium-level emperor. He had to save his disciples before he could worry about protecting himself. You will all die, none of you will escape, said Emperor Dong. With his mirror, he would find and kill those people sooner or later. Die! Emperor Dong released cosmic energies which reached Emperor Yu, making him cough up even more blood. Arg! Emperor Yu shouted and released terrifying earth energies. Everything around him exploded, and a hole appeared in the air. Bzzz! Emperor Yu used Emperor Dong's strength to create that hole. He wanted to jump inside, but Emperor Dong smiled coldly. Emperor Yu wanted to escape? Where could he go? Destroy! Emperor Dong jumped, and fissures appeared in the sky. Then he chased Emperor Yu into the empty space. Ah! A horrible shriek sounded as Xingzhan fell to the ground, soaked with blood. Xingzhan! Shouted the others. Their eyes were bloodshot. They were all fixedly staring at that hole. Their teacher and Emperor Dong had jumped inside, because he wanted to protect them. But Emperor Yu couldn't defeat Emperor Dong. How had Emperor Dong found them? They all looked desperate. What's going on? The Great Ape Emperor appeared. Emperor Dong came to kill our teacher, said Tianqi. His face was deathly pale, and he was terrified. Bzzz! A silhouette appeared and punched the air while jumping into the hole. The Great Ape Emperor and Tiantai's disciples were incredulous. How fast? That person was completely silent too. It's the Taoist monk. The Great Ape Emperor could tell that it was Yendi. He knew how strong Yendi was. Besides, he had directly jumped into the hole. Who's that? Asked Tianqi. He couldn't see the silhouette. He feared that it was one of Emperor Dong's allies. It's the Fire Mountain's new emperor, Lin Feng's friend. He came to help, said the Great Ape Emperor. That person has broken through to the Huangqi layer recently, but his strength is unfathomable. He's even stronger than me. I hope he's here to help. Tianqi and the others were still very worried. Let's leave, said the Great Ape Emperor to the disciples. Emperor Dong was there, so maybe the old emperor of the Sikong clan would come. and kill them, while Emperor Yu was preoccupied. No need. Emperor Dong can find us anywhere. I sensed something a short time ago, and so did our teacher. Some lights appeared and then disappeared. A short time after, Emperor Dong arrived, said Tianqi, shaking his head. He understood what was going on. Emperor Dong had used a special treasure to find them. All the emperors of Ba Huang are in danger then, said the great ape emperor. Emperor Dong could find all of them at a moment's notice. Our teacher told us that we had to leave within 30 days after those gigantic golden words appeared in the sky. It seems like we have to join hands to protect each other from Emperor Dong and the old emperor of the Sikong clan. The great ape emperor nodded. He realized that their problems were multiplying. Did those 30 days have anything to do with Emperor Dong? Chapter 15:18. Dead End Tianqi and the others could only sit there and pray. They couldn't fight against a medium-level emperor. Mister, can you heal Xingzhan's leg? Asked Tianqi. The great ape emperor remained silent for a few minutes. Xingzhan's leg had been cut by the cosmic energies of a medium-level emperor, so healing his leg would be very difficult. It seems like I lost my leg, sighed Xingzhan, trying to smile. Xingzhan, Tianqi, and Mu Bei didn't know what to say to cheer him up. Today, we're still alive thanks to our teacher. A leg doesn't matter. With my strength, even without that leg, I can still practice cultivation and fight, said Xingzhan, smiling. Tianqi and Mu Bei nodded. They admired him for his courage. They raised their heads and tried to see if their teacher was going to come back safe and sound or not. After a long time, finally 2 silhouettes appeared again. Emperor Yu, teacher. The disciples ran towards him. The 2 people were Yan Di and Emperor Yu. Emperor Yu didn't look fine. He was bleeding, and he looked like he had lost all his strength. His qi was very weak, as if he was going to die. I'm all right, said Emperor Yu, trying to smile. Tianqi and the others' eyes were bloodshot. Crackling sounds popped. They clenched their fists. Emperor Dong. Tianqi was furious. Yan Di saved my life. I would have died without him, said Emperor Yu, smiling. He controlled Earth cosmic energy, which allowed him to increase his defense. But Emperor Dong controlled empty space cosmic energy, which had a slicing characteristic. Emperor Yu couldn't escape either. Yan Di had intervened at a crucial moment. Thank you, Master, said Tianqi to Yan Di. It was a pleasure, said Yan Di calmly and serenely. Teacher. In the distance, Lin Feng and Mu Qin came back. They pulled a long face. Emperor Yu smiled at them and said, We must hurry and inform all the emperors of Ba Huang. Emperor Dong has a precious item, which allows him to find us anywhere. Bzzz. Some lights flashed in the sky. That's precisely that thing, said Emperor Yu while looking at the lights, which had quickly disappeared again. We can't stay in Ba Huang for too long, it seems, said Mu Chun as he gazed into the distance. Emperors were fine, but young people had to be very careful. Emperor Wen quickly appeared looking distraught. Emperor Dong has an ancient mirror which allows him to find people. We need to inform all the emperors of Ba Huang, said Emperor Yu to Emperor Wen. Emperor Wen nodded and said, I understand. My dad has already started informing people. Emperor Yu, your injuries. Emperor Yu shook his head. He had been injured by cosmic energies. Even though his life wasn't in danger, his injuries were very serious. His strength was affected. It would be difficult for him to recover. Yan Di. Lin Feng turned to the Taoist monk. He knew a lot, so maybe he knew what to do. I'm not a healer, and I don't understand life cosmic energy either. I can't heal him, said Yan Di. Once in the holy city, you should find a medium level or a higher level emperor who understands life cosmic energy. That or a great alchemist or doctor. Yan Di then turned to Xingzhan and said, Your injuries are less serious than Emperor Yu's. Emperor Yu was a bit disappointed. Emperor Dan was a great alchemist, but he was dead. He had to go to the holy city to find a stronger cultivator who could help him. But then again, why would those incredible cultivators help him? Mr. Xiao, thought Lin Feng. Mr. Xiao was mysterious. He had saved Lin Feng's life before, and his medicine didn't leave a negative impact on Lin Feng's cultivation. It even helped him become stronger. Don't worry about my injuries. We need to come up with a way to leave, said Emperor Yu calmly. Is the messenger the only one who can send people to the holy city? Asked Lin Feng. The messenger wasn't very nice, and he was friends with Emperor Dong. The emperors looked pensive. There were several exits indeed. We can't consider the other one, said the great ape emperor while shaking his head. In Bahuang province, there is only one exit. But in Jiuyu, there is another one according to legends. But it's in a forbidden place in Jiuyu where even emperors can die. Indeed, there no need to consider Jiuyu's exit, said Emperor Wen. A high-level emperor can pierce through the barrier of the sky, said Yendi. High-level emperors can break the sky barrier. That's why the strongest cultivators of this world are medium-level emperors. High-level emperors will just leave, thought Lin Feng. So, the light beam which had emerged from the 3 live scriptures had the power of a high-level emperor. While everybody was thinking, Emperor Wen's father and Emperor Dong were racing against time. Emperor Dong continued using his mirror. He wanted to find Lin Feng. But after he saw that Lin Feng was with Yan Di, Emperor Dong gave up. He didn't know who the Taoist monk was, but he was too strong. His cosmic energies were terrifying, and his holy mark strength was astonishing. Yan Di had attained the highest degree of perfection whilst using holy marks. After that, he looked for the 6 Desires Empress. That evil woman had made an alliance with Emperor Yu. He wanted to capture her alive and use her as a sex slave. Not just her, but her disciple Irenlei too. Chapter 1519. Emperor Wu Tianjian. Emperor Yu. Emperor Dong hates Tiantai, which is why he looked for you. After you, whom do you think he will hunt for? Asked Emperor Wen. Maybe that he will also look for the emperors who joined in the Qi clan's destruction, said Emperor Yu. Yi-Run is in danger, thought Lin Feng. Her teacher had come on the day when the Qi clan was destroyed. Apart from those few emperors, the Watcher's father had come too, the 6 Desires Empress, the Assassin Emperor and the others. Emperor Dong would probably choose the 6 Desires Empress first. Lin Feng looked at Yan Di and hesitated. If he asked Yan Di to go, they wouldn't be able to protect themselves against Emperor Dong if he came back. Jianga, suddenly thought Lin Feng. He gazed into the distance and said, Yan Di, go to the Heavens of Desire's palace. Everybody else can come with me to Jianga. We'll be safe there. That sounds good. Yan Di, you're very strong and very fast. You and Emperor Wen's father can stay together, said Emperor Yu. All right. No problem, said Yan Di. Then he disappeared. What a terrifying speed. He's even faster than me, thought Emperor Wen. Let's go to Sword City, said Lin Feng. I also want to see the old man of Jianga, said Emperor Yu. Lin Feng and the other strong cultivators landed in Jiange. Jiange's people welcomed him politely. Jianmu even welcomed them personally. Mu Qin immediately left after that. He wanted to find the other disciples from Tiantai. Lin Feng didn't bring people to the sword grave though. He went to the sword grave alone. As soon as the old man saw Lin Feng, he smiled indifferently and said, I know what's going on outside. The 2 sides violated the rules, and now such things are happening. Rules? Lin Feng was surprised. He didn't understand. Were there rules between the Imperial Assassin Union and the Watchers? Master, my teacher wants to see you, said Lin Feng. Tell him to come, said the old man calmly. Lin Feng went out and called Emperor Yu. Then they came back. The old man sighed and said, You're like me now, what a pity. Emperor Yu bowed politely before the old man and said, I am not worth mentioning in the same sentence as you, master. Don't be that polite. Have a seat, said the old man. Emperor Yu smiled at Lin Feng. Lin Feng, please sit down too. Your body has been cleansed, so you are starting to be one with nature. You can't stay here. You must leave for the holy city, where you will have more opportunities, said the old man. Emperor Yu shook his head and said, Back then, some old friends and I wanted to leave, but one of my friends died from the Imperial Assassin Union. It changed both our destinies. Therefore, you need to make sure things end differently. The Imperial Assassin Union is becoming even more audacious, and they have influence. They want to take control over Bahuang and Jiuyu. Therefore, we can only strike back, otherwise, the end results will be tragic. You've seen what happened, said Emperor Yu to the old man. The old man remained silent for a few seconds and finally nodded. Indeed. The messenger has also forgotten what his responsibilities are. You didn't do anything wrong. Maybe to them, the small world is like a game of chess. You're playing quite well. Emperor Yu was happy that the old man agreed. Then he slowly stood up and bowed respectfully. Thank you for helping us. Me, said the old man smiling wryly. I'm like you, I'm injured. I was injured by cosmic energies, so I can't fight. I'm sure Emperor Wu Tianjian doesn't know what impossible means. You've existed for 5,000 years after all, said Emperor Yu. The old man looked at Emperor Yu in a strange way. Lin Feng's eyes were twinkling. Was the old man of the sword grave Emperor Wu Tianjian, who used to amaze everyone 5,000 years ago? He had become so old that nobody knew him anymore. Indeed, 5,000 years before, none of Jiang's current people were born yet. The old man looked at Lin Feng and stretched out his hands, which had scars and blisters left from his sword. Lin Feng and the other disciples from Tiantai are really talented. You can place all your hopes on them, said the old man, tapping Lin Feng's shoulder. Emperor Yu nodded. Indeed, master. I am ready to die for them. We can die, but they can't. That's why I'm asking for your help, said Emperor Yu, bowing. Lin Feng was clenching his fists so hard that his nails pierced through the palms of his hands. What makes you act so brave? Sighed the old man. Emperor Yu was an emperor, so cultivation was the most precious thing he had in life. Who was willing to die for other people when cultivation mattered most? My fellow disciple who has been there for me for hundreds of years gives me faith, said Emperor Yu, smiling in a resplendent way. He missed his friend. Emperor sure, thought Lin Feng. Chapter 1520. Chessboard. Emperor Wu Tianjian whispered. I spent my entire life practicing sword cultivation. Even if the members of Jiang'e think dearly about me, in my life, I've never actually had a friend or lover. I've always only loved my sword. Do you understand what I mean? I understand. Emperor Yu nodded. Why would Emperor Wu Tianjian have compassion for Emperor Yu? But you like Lin Feng and I'm injured. If you stay like this, you'll die sooner or later. You know Lin Feng. You know how he is. If he reaches the clouds, he won't forget you in the future. Emperor Yu continued, trying to convince Emperor Wu Tianjian. The old man smiled and said, Maybe that little boy is the friend I've never had, said the old man kindly. Now he was smiling in a resplendent way. Emperor Yu also smiled. They both looked at Lin Feng in a kind and gentle way, as if they had been looking at their own son. I'm off, master. See you around, said Emperor Yu before leaving. Lin Feng watched him leave. Their conversation had made him think about many things, including the mysteries of the small world. Master, are there rules between the Imperial Assassin Union and the Watchers? Asked Lin Feng to the old man. The old man nodded and said, Very old rules which have been determined for a long time behind the scenes. The Imperial Assassin Union doesn't only kill people who have the potential to become emperors. Nobody would waste time trying to do that. Their goal is to eliminate some people or block some others. If they want to eliminate someone, they kill them. If they want to block someone, they control them. But some people from influential groups in Ba Huang don't want to be killed or controlled, so the Watchers help them. During the events in Fortune City, it was decided who the Watchers would protect. Those people are the Imperial Assassin Union's main targets. They are also the symbols of the Watchers. The Watchers' father places high hopes on them. He hopes they'll create a better future for Ba Huang, or that they'll leave and come back, annihilating the Imperial Assassin Union once and for all. So we can't say that the Qi clan and the Sikong clan control the Imperial Assassin Union, thought Lin Feng. For the people behind the Imperial Assassin Union, the small world is like a chessboard. It provides them with an endless quantity of cultivators. Every 100 years they choose some. Therefore, the Imperial Assassin Union will always exist because they're from there, said the old man calmly. Lin Feng remembered the banquet in the Qi Empire. Many imperial disciples had appeared and attacked their own teachers, which made sense now. My teacher knew something was going to happen, but he didn't say anything. Lin Feng knew that his teacher had something to do with the Watchers. Maybe the Great Ape Emperor did too, and the old emperor of the Celestial Palace of the Immortals. You're right. He knew, but he needed the Imperial Assassin Union act first. They let the Imperial Assassin Union attack, so that everybody could have a reason to attack the Imperial Assassin Union, said the old man. Lin Feng nodded. For the Watchers, it worked to their benefit. After the wedding ceremony in the Qi Empire, many people had started banding together to fight against the Imperial Assassin Union. The Watchers don't want you to stay in Bahuang. They want you all to leave the world eventually, said the old man. The Watchers hope will be able to annihilate those who control the Imperial Assassin Union. That way, the safety of the small world will be guaranteed, said Lin Feng. However, the old man smiled thinly and shook his head. No, you're wrong. I'm wrong. Lin Feng was very surprised. You're wrong, said the old man, nodding. New groups keep appearing and disappearing. You underestimate the potential of the people that a small world can create. In the Holy City, many groups of influence fight for small worlds like crazy. In their eyes, small worlds are not worlds, small worlds are treasures. They train geniuses in small worlds. You cannot imagine what the Holy City is like. You should never underestimate a small world. Every 100 years, geniuses from here go to the Holy City, and maybe 10 people leave each time. But imagine the number of geniuses who emerge in 1,000, 10,000, or even 100,000 years. Amongst them, then again, imagine the most talented of all those talented people, said the old man, smiling. Lin Feng was pensive. Some of those people had the potential to become peerless cultivators. A small world is not only a world where geniuses are chosen, it's also a nice place to practice cultivation. People like Xia Tianfan, Zhou Tianrua, or Guli all go to small worlds to practice cultivation. Why don't they send medium-level emperors to this small world to take control of it? Asked Lin Feng. Because there isn't just one group of influence that controls this small world. They have agreements, and there are rules. If you're strong and destroy everything or act as a horrible ruler, then you just waste the small world's potential, explained Emperor Wu Tianjian. This time, Lin Feng remained silent for a very long time before he said, So our teacher hoped that someday, we'll control this small world. Emperor Wu Tianjian smiled. If they became extremely strong, that small world would be safe. If they controlled that world, then nobody would be able to harm the people in there. Lin Feng and Emperor Wu Tianjian didn't continue talking. Emperor Wu Tianjian stood up and continued cleaning the sword grave. Lin Feng was seated and seemed pensive. He was thinking about what Emperor Yu and Emperor Wu Tianjian had said. Each time a battle happened in that small world, it was as if strong cultivators were playing chess. Chapter 1521. The only option. Yan Di and Emperor Wen's father came back and brought a lot of people with them. The Six Desires Empress, the Assassin Emperor, the Emperor of the Celestial Thunder Temple, and their disciples. Nobody had died. Jianmu was serving everybody as they arrived. He had never thought that Jiang'e would become the place of reunion for all the emperors of Bahuang. Jianmu was excited for their newfound popularity. He knew that their young master, who had already broken through to the 7th Zunqi layer, would also break through to the Huangqi layer soon. Even now, he had brought so many emperors. Jianmu didn't know about all the things Lin Feng and the old man had talked about. How would he react if he knew that the old man was their ancestor? We can be grateful to Emperor Yan. He's the reason why we're safe and sound, said the Six Desires Empress. If Yan Di hadn't come to her, Emperor Dong may have found her, and she would have been in danger. Emperor Yu had already been injured by Emperor Dong's cosmic energies, and he couldn't heal himself in Bahuang. He would need to be lucky in the future, otherwise his strength would be restricted forever, and he would never be able to improve again. Indeed, Yan Di helped us so much, said Emperor Wen's father, smiling. It was my pleasure, said Yan Di. The Six Desires Empress smiled at Lin Feng and said, You are now a cultivator at the top of the Zunqi layer. Congratulations. You'll soon break through to the Huangqi layer even. Thank you, said Lin Feng, smiling. We should determine a strategy to fight against Emperor Dong. If we don't kill him now, we'll be stuck together forever. If we disperse, he'll keep chasing us, said Emperor Wen, who was standing next to his father. The messenger also said that we'd have to send our disciples abroad within 30 days, otherwise he'd close the passage. said Emperor Devamara. Everybody looked pensive. 30 days would pass quickly, especially now that Emperor Dong has started hunting people. Our chances of survival are very low if we see our students off, said Emperor Yu. People were surprised. Some extremely strong people control the Imperial Assassin Union, so we can't remain enemies with them. If our disciples leave this small world, they won't be able to escape from those people in the Holy City. The messenger probably works with them too. So what should we do? Everyone looked at Emperor Yu. They trusted him a lot these days. Emperor Yu, you're a member of the Watchers Union, right? Asked the Assassin Emperor. Indeed, said Emperor Yu. The Great Ape Emperor is also one of them. The old emperor from the Celestial Palace of the Immortals is the former Watcher's father. There are probably some things I don't understand clearly, but everybody can trust me. The Imperial Assassin Union, since the wedding ceremony, keeps proving what kind of intentions they harbor. They don't care about the rules, so if we leave, we will end up in the tiger's mouth. I can prove it. The assassins in the Qi Empire, and those cultivators at the top of the Zunqi layer, who controlled cosmic energies, weren't cultivators of the Qi clan or the Sikong clan. They are probably from behind the scenes. In the past, they didn't get involved in the affairs of this world, but now they do. This shows how badly they want to control Ba Huang and Jiuyu, and that even the messenger is corrupt, said Emperor Wen. Emperor Wen, why did those disciples attack their teachers that day? They are controlled by those people who control the Imperial Assassin Union. Some people decide to join one group or the other, so it must have to do with their agreement, said Emperor Wen. Everybody looked at Emperor Yu. Emperor Yu nodded. Indeed, initially there was an agreement of balance, but in practice, there is no equilibrium. If our disciples leave, they will be captured by the Imperial Assassin Union. So what can we do? Asked the Assassin Emperor. They weren't surprised that those who control the Imperial Assassin Union would do such things. There is a solution, said Emperor Yu. We all leave this world, said Emperor Yu. Everyone had already thought of that, but it seemed drastic. But the messenger was corrupt, he would never let them leave. Emperor Yu knew what everybody was thinking, so he said, therefore, there's only one solution. Since the messenger violated the rules of this world, we can force him to open the passage and let us pass. That's the only option. We have no other choice. Force the messenger. Everybody thought that was insane. The messenger controlled that world, and he had a very particular social status. Indeed, that's the only way, thought everybody. It's easier said than done though, said Emperor Devamara while sighing. That's why we need to be all together. I will try to find a way to make the messenger, Emperor Dong, and the old emperor of the Sikong clan come to Sword City. When the time comes, we'll act at the same time and leave the world, said Emperor Yu calmly. The news that all the emperors were in Sword City quickly spread everywhere. At the same time, Emperor Yu shouted and insulted the messenger repeatedly. The other emperors did the same. They expressed their discontentment and insulted the messenger, telling him that he didn't deserve to be the messenger. Slowly, people learnt about the existence of a mysterious messenger. They didn't understand why the emperors insulted him though. Then, news spread that the emperors of Ba Huang intended to occupy Sword City and stay there with their disciples. They said they didn't intend to leave. What was going on? Were the emperors not going to leave Sword City anymore? All of them? Back at the Sun Castle, an old man's facial expression was ice cold. They think I can't hear them? Said the messenger. Emperor Dong smiled in a cold way and said, maybe they're trying to infuriate you. What you mean to say is that a cornered beast can do anything, said the messenger frowning. He rolled up his sleeves and said, it's ridiculous. They're a bunch of ignorant people. Do they think they can defeat me? They want to bring about their own destruction, said Emperor Dong, smiling in a cold way. Chapter 1522. Punishing Thunder Heart Sutra. More and more people gathered in Sword City. Lin Feng and the others were walking in the city center of Sword City. Emperor Yu, Emperor Wen and Yin Di were next to Lin Feng. Because of Emperor Dong, they didn't dare disperse. In the air, the mirror flashed and illuminated them. Lin Feng immediately stopped. He's coming, they thought. Emperor Dong knew where they were. Lin Feng and the others continued walking in Sword City, as if they didn't suspect anything. Lin Feng, Emperor 1, Emperor Yu. The news is real. The emperors are not leaving Sword City. Lin Feng and the others didn't hide anything. They dare walk outside, thought some people. Emperor Dong was a medium-level emperor, so he could defeat them easily. Who's that Taoist? It seems like he's also an emperor, thought some people when they saw Yendi. He had the demeanor of a transcendent being, and he didn't have the eyes of a Taoist monk. You don't understand? That's the new emperor of the Fire Mountain. When he was still a Zoom cultivator, he fooled all the emperors. Now he's broken through to the Huangqi layer. He even made Emperor Peng struggle the last time they fought, said some people who had heard about Yendi. Boom! In a flash, a terrifying qi surfaced. However, as soon as that terrifying qi surrounded them, Yendi jumped, and lights illuminated the space. Then they all disappeared. Boom! A terrifying energy crashed where they initially were, and Emperor Dong appeared. His attack had failed, so he glanced around. You again! Shouted Emperor Dong furiously. That damn Taoist monk was so fast, and he controlled marks to an extreme degree. Kaboom! Thunder sounded in the sky. A silhouette appeared. He wore a white robe, and was surrounded by lightning. Who's that? Thought some people. The messenger. Yendi, Lin Feng, and the others looked at that strong cultivator. That was the messenger. He was a thunder cultivator. I heard that some people were unhappy with the messenger's measures, said the messenger angrily. You're joking. We would never dare say anything about your highness the messenger, said Emperor Yu smiling indifferently. Some more people appeared. The old emperor from the Sikong clan was even there. Together, there were 3 medium-level emperors on their side. Do you think I'm stupid? Said the messenger. Thunderous energies surrounded Emperor Yu, making him feel paralyzed. You said I didn't deserve to be a messenger. You said you hoped I'd die. You said all those things. Terrifying thunder energies continued to surround Emperor Yu. I did say that, but you did violate the rules, didn't you? Since you violated the rules, you're not doing your job right. Am I wrong? Said Emperor Yu. While Emperor Yu and the messenger were talking, more emperors appeared around him. Emperor Wen's father, the old emperor of the celestial palace of the immortals. Right, as a messenger, I shouldn't get involved. But since you all humiliated me and said you wished I would die, I have no choice but to act, said the messenger. He had obviously noticed the emperors surrounding him, but he didn't care. Emperor Dong started releasing energies to attack Emperor Wen's father, while the old emperor of the Sikong clan released energies to attack the other old emperor. Emperor Yu Lin Feng moved back, said Yendi. Emperor Yu was injured, and Lin Feng was still too weak. Emperor Yu and Lin Feng moved away. Then the messenger said, I'm the messenger and I possess punishing thunders. Today I will punish you. Die! Suddenly purple thunderous energies lit the sky. Then lightning ceaselessly fell. Kaboom! The thunders crashed, but Lin Feng was still safe and sound. The Watcher's father had appeared in front of Emperor Yu and him. Go! Said the Watcher's father to Lin Feng and Emperor Yu. The messenger groaned coldly and chased them. Could they escape? Piss off, said someone else. Then, someone suddenly appeared in front of the messenger. Terrifying lights surrounded his thunderous energies, and a pitch-black fire started burning. The messenger had a feeling that he was in danger. You must want to die, shouted the messenger as he released more thunderous energies. The punishing lightnings crashed onto the lights and some cracks appeared, but the Taoist monk was still alive. You studied the Punishing Thunder Heart Sutra, said the Taoist monk. The messenger suddenly looked astonished. Who are you? How do you know about the Punishing Thunder Heart Sutra? In that small world, how could there be someone who knew his skills? There aren't that many thunder skills, and amongst them, that one is very weak. So it can only be the Punishing Thunder Heart Sutra, explained Yendi mockingly. The Punishing Thunder Heart Sutra was an incredibly powerful skill, which had been created by a great emperor. But surprisingly, Yendi said it was weak. Actually, the Punishing Thunder Heart Sutra wasn't that weak. It was just that Yendi was mocking him. What do you understand? Said the messenger angrily. Amongst thunder attacks, you have the Anatara World Destroying Thunder Sutra. from the godly crime-punishing ancient scriptures, the original Brahma Thunder Sutra. And yet you're telling me that your punishing Thunder Heart Sutra is good? Said Yendi mockingly. The messenger was astonished again. Those scriptures Yendi was talking about were all really incredibly, astonishingly terrifying. Chapter 1523. Arrogant Zhou Tianxiao / The messenger didn't say much more. He shook his hand and 9 punishing thunders descended from the sky towards Yendi. Yendi shook his hands, and terrifying marks appeared in front of him. Both a moon and a sun formed, each containing terrifying energies. The 9 lightnings broke as they crashed onto the patterns, but then they reappeared again 1,000 meters away. The messenger wasn't an emperor from Ba Huang. He was a medium-level emperor from the Holy City, so he was a lot stronger than the emperors from Ba Huang. He was in charge of the passage between the real world and the small world, so technically, apart from high-level emperors, people had to go through him to get to the Holy City. Yendi, go and fight against Emperor Dong. Don't give him any time. Yendi moved away without saying anything. He ran from the messenger to Emperor Dong. The messenger was surprised, and then glared at the Watcher's father. Messenger, you violated the rules, said the Watcher's father hoarsely. I control punishing thunders. Who can punish me in this place? Yelled the messenger. You will be punished for violating the rules, said the Watcher's father. Lin Feng was already far away. The Watcher's father had taken him, an emperor you very far away. The 6 Desires Empress, and the others were there too. At that moment in the distance 2 silhouettes appeared. Lin Feng sensed that those people wanted to kill him, so he turned around. Zhou Tianrua and his brother, they were in Sword City too. That's Lin Feng, said Zhou Tianxiao, who instantly released golden energies. Lin Feng ignored Zhou Tianxiao. You come out yourself or I'll come and kill you, said Zhou Tianxiao. Lin Feng frowned and said, You came to avenge that piece of trash? Lin Feng then looked at Zhou Tianrua mockingly. Zhou Tianrua, it seems like the word useless was created to describe exactly you. You're such a crappy cultivator that you've made your brother handle your own fights. Zhou Tianrua looked furious. Lin Feng was making fun of him. Zhou Tianxiao glared at Lin Feng, and then suddenly started running towards him, while releasing golden energies. He's an emperor, and he wants to kill a weaker cultivator. How ridiculous! Emperor Devamara jumped towards Zhou Tianxiao. Zhou Tianxiao didn't hesitate, he continued running while releasing energies. At the same time, he punched the air in Emperor Devamara's direction. Boom! Emperor Devamara was propelled backwards, his arm even felt sore. A bunch of short-sighted people. What do you understand about cultivation? Said Zhou Tianxiao. He continued running forwards while releasing oppressive energies, as if he hadn't seen the other emperors. Go! Even though Emperor Yu was injured, he could still use cosmic energy. He shouted furiously, and some mountains appeared in the sky, instantly oppressing Zhou Tianxiao. Zhou Tianxiao punched them, and they immediately fell apart. His body even pierced through a mountain. He had a golden aura which made his body seemingly indestructible. I'll teach you about cultivation, said Zhou Tianxiao. Illusion. The 6 Desires Empress jumped forwards and smiled in a seductive way. Zhou Tianxiao's facial expression didn't change at all. He wasn't affected by her attacks either. Dodge! A gigantic golden hand descended from the sky. The golden holy energy from that attack was way more powerful than Zhou Tianrua's. Zhou Tianxiao slapped the 6 Desires Empress, and made her fly away. His energies and determination were impressive. What could Lin Feng do now? Phew! A gigantic black stick appeared and descended from the sky. Zhou Tianxiao suddenly turned around and raised his hands. Quickly, his golden hands collided with the wooden stick, and Zhou Tianxiao was propelled away. What an army! Thought Zhou Tianxiao, looking at all the emperors. You're an emperor. Do you think killing young cultivators is something you can be proud of? I don't care about pride, I just want to teach him a lesson. He attacked my little brother, so I can kill him if I want to, said Zhou Tianxiao in a cold way. Die! Shouted Zhou Tianxiao. Suddenly, millions of golden holy imprints appeared. The great ape emperor used his gigantic destruction rod spell again. but the countless golden holy threads of energies pierced through it. Zhou Tianxiao shouted furiously, and a holy golden sword shot out of his mouth, piercing through the gigantic stick and heading towards Lin Feng. Arg! The great ape emperor shouted furiously, and he himself grew. Zhou Tianxiao looked a bit scared, but he looked at Lin Feng again and said, "Look at me." Terrifying energies penetrated Lin Feng's brain. Then Zhou Tianxiao rose up in the air. The great ape emperor was a strong cultivator, strong enough to stop Zhou Tianxiao from killing Lin Feng at least. "If I see you again, I'll kill you," said Zhou Tianxiao. Then, he glanced at the emperors and Lin Feng and said, "You people are weak in a one-on-one battle. I'll kill you all." Then Zhou Tianxiao and Zhou Tianrua left. Chapter 1524. Emperor Wu Tianjian's intervention. That guy is very young, and is already a low-level emperor. He's even stronger than me, said the Six Desires Empress indifferently. No need to compare yourself. We are in a small world, so we don't have access to the most powerful skills. We can only rely on ourselves in this world, or cosmic energies. It's only natural that he is stronger than us, said Emperor Yu indifferently. Indeed, leaving this place will benefit us, said the great ape emperor as placed his wooden stick on his shoulder. He gazed into the distance and continued watching those terrifying battles. At that moment, the messenger slowly walked forwards while releasing more punishing thunders. The area slowly turned into a type of thunderous world. Then the messenger said, "This place is my world. I am the Punisher here. Fighting against me means fighting against the sky." Thunderous lights appeared in his eyes. Those eyes could pierce through the Watcher's father's body. That's an illusion, thought the Watcher's father. His facial expression suddenly changed. Slash! Terrifying sword lights lacerated the thunder world. The messenger suddenly looked astonished. He sensed how terrifying those sword energies were above his head, and they were becoming even more powerful. He was even suffocating. "Who's that?" The messenger's face turned pale. He saw an old man in the sky. There was no sword. That person was a sword. The thunderous ocean turned into a sword ocean. The messenger's facial expression changed drastically. He raised his hands and thunders rolled in waves. But the old man continued walking ahead. The messenger felt like he was being strangled. That feeling worsened the closer the old man got. The messenger wanted to run away, but he couldn't. If he turned around, maybe then that sword would stab him in the back. So he had to face the old man. The old man was Emperor Wu Tianjian. His wrinkles had almost disappeared though. He looked as sharp as a sword, instead of his usual sickly old self. "You don't rule this world. You're just a doorman," said Emperor Wu Tianjian in a sharp way. The messenger didn't dare look at Emperor Wu Tianjian's eyes. He feared that they would stab him if he did. The messenger looked distraught. "You don't rule this world, you're just a doorman?" In the distance, Emperor Dong and the old emperor from the Sikong clan saw that someone was oppressing the messenger. Why? How come there was such a strong cultivator in that small world? What would happen if such a strong cultivator used his full strength? Could he even pierce through the sky? "Emperor Dong," said Emperor Wu Tianjian in a sharp way. Sharp energies surrounded Emperor Dong and imprisoned him. "You're too greedy. From now on, the Imperial Assassin Union will disappear from Bahuang," said Emperor Wu Tianjian in a calm and serene way, as if he were the leader of that world. "Besides, give me the item which allows you to track people. I'll decide whether your successor will be eligible to receive it or not," said Emperor Wu Tianjian. Emperor Dong was even more furious. "What? Do you want me to take the initiative and take it?" said Emperor Wu Tianjian aggressively. Sword energies were whistling as they surrounded Emperor Dong. Even the messenger looked weak in front of him. If Emperor Wu Tianjian wanted to kill them, he could. "I'll report that to the elders," said Emperor Dong shaking. Then he took out the ancient mirror and threw it at Emperor Wu Tianjian. Emperor Wu Tianjian looked at the mirror and put it away. The emperors took in a deep breath of relief. "All right. This place needs some peace and tranquility for the next 100 years. We should go," said Emperor Wu Tianjian to the messenger. Then, some people appeared behind Emperor Wu Tianjian. The emperors were gathering behind him with their disciples. They all wanted to leave that place together. The messenger's life was in Emperor Wu Tianjian's hands, so he had to obey. He slowly turned around and walked forwards. Emperor Dong was still oppressed by sword energies. He was suffocating from them even. Some time passed and they all left Sword City. Was that Emperor Wu Tianjian? Many people had observed the battle and were wondering. They would never forget that battle. Emperor Wu Tianjian and the messenger. They had never seen such strong cultivators in their lives. They still didn't know that their world was fake though. Clouds rolled in the sky. The old man from the Celestial Walls Manor was upset when he saw that chi. I'm late. Then a strong wind started blowing again. And there were two people standing beside him. At that same time, a group of people arrived at the Sun Castle. The messenger put his hand on the sun pattern, and it opened itself. It was the door to the holy city. Chapter 1525. The first battle in the great world. Lin Feng couldn't believe his eyes. What kind of world would the holy city be? Lin Feng turned around and glanced at the palace one last time. He didn't know when he would come back, because nobody could know what would happen in the great world. Go, said Emperor Wu Tianjian, smiling at Lin Feng in a gentle way. Then Lin Feng nodded. Let's go together. Those people gradually crossed the gate. People crossed the gate, one after the other. Lin Feng then followed the crowd ahead. Very quickly, nobody was left in the castle apart from Emperor Wu Tianjian, Emperor Dong and the messenger. After they left, Emperor Wu Tianjian didn't leave. He looked at the messenger in a cold way and put his sword on his throat. You're just the doorman here. So do your job. If you violate the rules again, I guarantee you that I won't let you off. The messenger was petrified. His mouth twitched. After crossing the door, Lin Feng and the others had an incredible sensation. They turned around, and they only saw a normal door. That door didn't have incredible empty space energies or anything, but it was probably still significant. One step and they were in a new world. They arrived in an ancient castle with a long corridor. Are we already in the great world? Thought the crowd. They walked ahead in the corridor rather slowly, as if they were scared to see something happen. Suddenly everybody stopped. Get ready to fight. They don't care about young people here, so they could kill you, said Emperor Yu. Everybody nodded and continued walking. They left the corridor and took their first steps outside. It was very windy, making the crowd feel cold. There was a vast desert at the end of the corridor. There were two people waiting there, their eyes were closed. After the crowd stepped out, those people's eyes suddenly opened. Those must be the people who determined the 30-day rule, thought the crowd. The Imperial Assassin Union's rulers didn't intend to let them off. Us emperors can fight while everyone else should escape as far as you can. Boom, boom. The ground shook and dust rose up in the air. A terrifying cosmic strength cage trapped them, and a dragon inside. The emperors didn't have time to protect the weaker cultivators. Those people didn't want to kill them. They only wanted to capture them alive. In the desert, a terrifying sun pattern appeared. The dragon looked fierce, like it wanted to break the cage. Boom! A silhouette suddenly shot out. He didn't want to fight, he wanted to run away instead. Emperor Devamara. Lin Feng recognized him. Wasn't he as determined as the other emperors? The Imperial Assassin Union's targets weren't those emperors. They only wanted the young people. Emperor Devamara wanted Xiaoyu to choose his own path, so nobody blamed him. But some people felt uncomfortable. It's an empty space seal, shouted Emperor Devamara as he ran back. Yendi, you'll have to break the seal, shouted the Great Ape Emperor. Yendi's attacks were terrifying. When he had just broken through to the Huangqi layer, he had already managed to break Emperor Peng's defense. All right, Yendi nodded and hurried over while releasing black fire energies. Then a gigantic earth hand grabbed Lin Feng suddenly. Piss off, shouted Emperor Yu as he landed before Lin Feng. Suddenly the earth hand faded. Then Lin Feng and Emperor Yu frowned. The earth hand turned into a large stone and bombarded Emperor Yu. Emperor Yu was bleeding after taking that hit. Teacher! Emperor Yu's body crashed onto Lin Feng. Chapter 1526. Mu Chun, Lin Feng and Emperor Yu were bombarded by energies, but they were protected by a mountain. Meteorites fell from the sky, the gigantic stone hand, and the terrifying lights falling down made things look apocalyptic. Lin Feng, run away. Emperor Yu pushed Lin Feng away. Teacher, shouted Lin Feng. He was dumbstruck. His teacher couldn't die. The stones didn't care about Lin Feng's thoughts. The one who was fighting against Emperor Yu was an earth cultivator like him. But he was stronger than Emperor Yu. A gigantic hand softly appeared in front of Emperor Yu. Brother, shouted Lin Feng hoarsely. That was Mu Chun. Maybe that strength was going to kill Lin Feng's teacher and Mu Chun. He wasn't an emperor, so he couldn't deal with that strength. Even if he were an emperor, he still couldn't deal with that strength. You must want to die, shouted Mu Chun. His eyes were bloodshot. Suddenly, Mu Chun released energies which turned into millions of hands and moved towards the oppressive energies. Mu Chun himself also turned into a light. Energies rolled in waves. The enemy was wearing a beautiful earthen armor, and it was extremely thick. Mu Chun's hands assaulted him, making him shake down to his soul. Die, said Mu Chun coldly. He continued assaulting the enemy. Lin Feng saw the emperor's armor crackle. How's that possible? Thought Lin Feng. His heart was pounding. Lin Feng was amazed, astonished, dumbstruck. That emperor from the great world could oppress Emperor Yu. But Mu Chun was crushing him. Lin Feng wasn't the only one who was astonished. Many other emperors who were fighting were just as amazed. The first emperor had died, an emperor from the holy city. Buddy, are you okay? Mu Chun looked at Emperor Yu. He felt guilty. Lin Feng was completely astonished. Buddy? Emperor sure, thought Lin Feng immediately. That mysterious disciple wasn't a cultivator at the very top of the Zunqi layer. It was Emperor sure. He had never left Tiantai. He was there the entire time. Buddy, whispered Lin Feng. Then he smiled in a resplendent way. The two cultivators looked like great friends. No wonder Emperor Sure had reacted like that. Emperor Yu had already been injured before. He controls soul strength. That's why he can hide himself so well. He could turn into a cultivator at the very top of the Zunqi layer and hide amongst us. He was protecting us without telling us, thought Lin Feng. Tiantai's disciples had gone through a lot, but someone had been secretly protecting them the entire time. Little bastard, hurry up, said Lin Feng to Yin Di in the distance. Little bastard, don't you think I'm already trying? Said Yin Di loudly. The sealed area was proving difficult to destroy. Lin Feng, Qing Lin, get next to me, said Mu Chun. Then, everybody surrounded Emperor Yu. A metallic ringing sounded as three silhouettes appeared in front of Mu Chun. One of them had a spear which contained terrifying ghostly qi. On his left, there was someone with an iron tower. Then the one on the right was skinny and controlled terrifying wind energies. A medium-level emperor and two low-level emperors. Lin Feng felt like they were suffocating from those pressures. Lin Feng looked at his fellow disciples and smiled. We must all live for Tiantai, for our teachers. For Tiantai, shouted Ho Qing Lin. Slash. The terrifying spear slashed ahead. It was as if wailing ghosts were throwing themselves at Mu Chun. Mu Chun shivered, but then turned into a million shadows, which immediately moved towards the enemy. Slash slash. The long spear turned into a black shadow itself. Quickly, it turned into 100 spears and attacked the different shadows Mu Chun had created. The one with the iron tower also jumped, the ground exploding under his feet. He turned into a gigantic stone and created countless stones which surrounded Lin Feng and the other disciples. The wind cultivator flew towards Emperor Yu. At the same, he released wind cosmic energies which oppressed the disciples' form Tiantai. He wanted to capture Tiantai's disciples while killing Emperor Yu. I'll block him, you go and kill the others, shouted Mu Chun. Then, an old man in a golden robe jumped forwards and threw himself at the strong cultivator with the spear. Slash! The long spear slashed ahead and pierced the old emperor's body. Then the attacker smiled evilly. Take him, shouted the old emperor. Mu Chun threw himself at that cultivator. Be careful, shouted the cultivator with the spear. The old emperor had surprisingly grabbed the spear which was stuck in his body. Die, shouted that cultivator. Qi emerged from the spear, but the old man still held onto the spear. Immortal blood! That cultivator recognized what was happening. Mu Chun then landed in front of the wind cultivator and that person's soul started shaking violently. After that, Mu Chen crushed his body just like he had done just before. "He's my teacher and the Watcher's father," whispered Lin Feng. The others looked amazed as well. As many people had already said, anyone could wear a plaited bamboo hat and become a Watcher. Chapter 1527. Escape soul strength is even more powerful than physical strength, thought Lin Feng. The Earth Emperor suddenly stopped. His Earth cosmic energy turned into stone cosmic energy, making his defense even more terrifying. He didn't fear ordinary medium-level emperors, but he feared Mu Chen and his soul attacks. Ah! At that moment another horrible shriek sounded. "Teacher!" Iranlei looked extremely sad. Her teacher was softly lying on the ground. Her face was deathly pale. A terrifying golden light emerged from her body. Her cosmic energies were leaving her body, and she was dying. "Iran, you have to live on," said the Six Desires Empress smiling. While Mu Chen was killing the two emperors, another enemy, who was a medium-level emperor, killed the empress. There were more fighters than they had thought. Boom! A terrifying strength destroyed the Six Desires Empress body. Then the medium-level emperor ran towards Mu Chen. Lin Feng's face turned deathly pale. If Yendi didn't manage to break that empty space's wall, they would all die. At that moment, the ground shook, and a terrifying fire appeared. Explosions sounded and the ground quaked. Yendi had done it. The medium-level emperor, who had killed the Six Desires Empress, had just landed in front of Mu Chen. He glanced at Yendi. How could people from that small world break that empty space? "Xikong Zhangming, come and fight against them. I will deal with him," said a strong cultivator to another medium-level emperor. Then, someone else threw themselves at Yendi. He was fast enough that he could easily catch up with Yendi. "Let's go. Disperse," shouted Mu Chen to Lin Feng and the others. His soul even started burning. "Brother," shouted people from Tiantai. Even though they now knew Mu Chen was Emperor Sure, they continued calling him brother, because they were used to it. Suddenly several of Mu Chen's shadows appeared. He grabbed all those who weren't emperors, and left with them in different directions. "Where are you going?" shouted Xikong Zhangming. Space became distorted as a pair of terrifying eyes loomed overhead, breaking Mu Chen's illusions apart. Mu Chen released his godly awareness, and controlled millions of threads, to attack Xikong Zhangming. Meanwhile, Lin Feng and Emperor Yu were in the arms of one of Mu Chen's shadows. "Lin Feng, escape," said the shadow to Lin Feng. Mu Chen's illusions could surprisingly speak. The clones who were carrying Emperor Yu and Lin Feng were running so fast that their feet were on fire. "Brother, you take care too," said Lin Feng to Mu Chen's clone. "Don't worry. They can't kill me that easily," said Mu Chen while smiling. "I can only take you this far. The area here is very vast, so they won't find you," said Mu Chen as he was becoming more illusory. He was too far from his original body, so he was losing strength. "Teacher," shouted Lin Feng to Emperor Yu. Emperor Yu was injured, so Lin Feng had to take care of him. "I'm all right," said Emperor Yu, even though he looked nervous. Lin Feng knew that Emperor Yu was worried about Mu Chen and the other disciples. "Teacher, we need to hurry," said Lin Feng. Even though Mu Chen had brought them quite far, they still weren't safe. Emperors could still easily catch up with them. Then they immediately started running. "Is someone there?" At that moment, Lin Feng sensed some extremely powerful qi in the distance. Were any of those people emperors? "Lin Feng, amongst those 4 people one of them is an emperor," said Emperor Yu. Lin Feng felt desperate. Unless those people didn't harbor ill intentions, Lin Feng and Emperor Yu were going to die. Without Yendi and Mu Chen, nobody would have been able to escape from the empty space. What a bastard! If the messenger hadn't violated the rules, they wouldn't be in such a terrible situation. "You think you can escape us?" yelled the emperor of the group who was chasing them. Surprisingly, an injured emperor had left the small world. "Let us pass and I'll give you an incredible treasure. A treasure that you wouldn't believe could exist," said Lin Feng. The emperor was surprised and smiled. "What treasure?" "A great emperor's imperial scriptures," said Lin Feng calmly. The emperor was staring at Lin Feng, full of suspicion. Lin Feng had imperial scriptures? You can't kill me as an excuse, because it's in my godly awareness. If you kill me, it'll be gone. If you don't believe me, then you can just leave it up to fate, said Lin Feng. Can you prove you have imperial scriptures? The skills I use are part of imperial scriptures. Sense it, said Lin Feng. Suddenly, his entire body turned black, and he looked like a demon. That qi matches an emperor's qi. The emperor's eyes looked even more surprised. Great emperor's scriptures could make any cultivator of the Huang qi layer go insane. Let us go and I'll transmit it to you, said Lin Feng. The emperor looked pensive though. Would he really transmit that great emperor's ancient scriptures if he let them off? Chapter 1528. Conditions. The three cultivators who were with the emperor also looked interested. Great emperor's imperial scriptures were priceless items. All right, I accept, said the emperor, smiling happily, yet looking at Lin Feng in a deep, meaningful way. He still didn't believe that Lin Feng would offer great imperial scriptures that easily. If he did, then he'd have no bargaining chips left and he'd die. You should first prove your sincerity, said Lin Feng, glancing at the three other people indifferently. What do you mean? Asked the emperor, who was now releasing thunderous energies. How can I know that you won't kill me afterwards to make things secret? Use your thunderous energies to kill them. Betray your group and I will trust you. Then I'll transmit the imperial scriptures to you, said Lin Feng in a cold way. You must pay the price to obtain something great. He's very smart. Even if I kill them, he won't transmit the imperial scriptures to me, thought that person. Then he said, if I kill them, I could also kill you after you transmit the scriptures to me. Therefore, I will first transmit half of it to you. Then you will follow us, and you will also protect us along the way. After my teacher is cured, I will teach you the rest. That way, everybody will be safe, said Lin Feng, smiling. Thunder surrounded around Lin Feng. Transmit the great imperial scriptures to me and I'll let you pass, otherwise I'll kill you on the spot, demanded that person. Lin Feng remained calm. He looked indifferent and said, I don't have much time. 3 seconds. Apart from the great imperial scriptures, I'll also transmit the dream of life ancient scriptures to you. You must die, said that person while releasing thunderous energies. A head exploded, but it wasn't Lin Feng's head. No. When the two others saw their friend die, they began to run away. But the emperor was merciless. He used force to surround those two people. Then thunderous cosmic energies moved towards them. The strong cultivator turned to Lin Feng and said coldly, Is that enough? If you're not insane, you can never become strong. This place is not safe, so take us away first, said Lin Feng, smiling. The emperor wasn't happy to hear that though, so he yelled, Half of the imperial scriptures. You betrayed your group because of great imperial scriptures. If someone finds us, they'll kill you and we won't be able to escape, shouted Lin Feng. That emperor instantly looked upset. Lin Feng kept fooling around, but he was caught up in his greed now, so he had to cope with Lin Feng. That desert is extremely vast. There are even some animal clans and tribes along the way. When we arrive at the nearest tribe, you must give me half of it. If you don't, I'll kill you both without hesitation, said the emperor coldly. Don't worry, said Lin Feng, nodding agreeably. Emperor Yu nodded too. Emperor Yu remained calm and serene. He was seated cross-legged in the air, and he said nothing. He was happy that Lin Feng was brave, but at the same time, he wasn't reassured. That emperor posed a threat to them. Take us away now. We're all in danger, said Lin Feng to the emperor. He didn't refuse, he took them away very quickly. He hoped he would have the opportunity to kill them after having received the whole scriptures. He especially looked forward to killing Lin Feng. The three of them moved very quickly. Just like the emperor had said, that desert was huge. They flew for a long time without seeing anyone. Lin Feng looked back to where Mu Chun and everyone else were. But he was too far now. He could only hope the best for them. Lin Feng had his head turned to the side as they flew forwards because sand kept assaulting his face. It was a bit painful, but Lin Feng remained determined. He was alive, he was becoming stronger, and he had arrived in the great world. He'd have to remember those influential groups for later. Lin Feng, it was difficult for you to become strong. It was also difficult to leave the small world. Now, you must always be determined, and you must possess an indomitable will. Don't let anything stop you, said Emperor Yu in a gentle way. Don't worry, teacher, I will, said Lin Feng, smiling at his teacher. That's good. You're so talented, someday you'll amaze the great world, said Emperor Yu to Lin Feng. Teacher, you need to remember that advice for yourself. You will be healed soon, said Lin Feng. He could tell that Emperor Yu didn't sound so optimistic about himself. All right. Emperor Yu nodded. The emperor's purple eyes twinkled. Healed? Those people would die sooner or later. Lin Feng finally saw some buildings in the desert and some tribal villages. Those villages were as large as Yangzhou City, but the surroundings weren't much to look at. Everything was old and dry. What is this place in the great world? Asked Lin Feng to the emperor. That desert only exists to connect the small world to the great world, said the emperor vaguely. He didn't feel like explaining things to Lin Feng. We have access to the small world I come from in the desert, but do we have access to other small worlds? Asked Lin Feng. Indeed. We're almost in the village now, so remember your promise, said the emperor. Then they descended from the sky. We still need to get closer. This is only the periphery of the village, so if your friends come, it won't be safe, said Lin Feng. The emperor groaned, so Lin Feng continued. We'll descend when we see the 9th ancient fortress, and I'll transmit half of the imperial scriptures to you then. Then we'll continue. Chapter 1529. For life the emperor stared at Lin Feng, but then he continued. They could already see the 9th fortress, so he flew ahead. Many people raised their heads in the village. Was that an emperor? These days, the celestial Qi castle has been dispatching a lot of strong cultivators to the desert, and they're fighting a lot. The small worlds must be open, thought some people on the ground. Immediately after, they lowered their heads again, minding their own business. That village was a lot larger than Yangzhou City, but for strong cultivators, distances weren't that important. Quickly, the emperor, Lin Feng and Emperor Yu arrived outside of the 9th fortress and landed. The emperor looked at Lin Feng. This time, he knew he couldn't find any other excuse. I'll transmit half of the imperial scriptures to you using my godly awareness, said Lin Feng. The emperor's eyes were twinkling with greed. Are you ready? Asked Lin Feng. Let's do it, said the emperor, nodding and closing his eyes, but he wasn't relaxed. He continued observing Lin Feng and Emperor Yu with his godly awareness. If they tried to do anything funny, he'd kill them. Lin Feng released his godly awareness towards the emperor's third eye. It contained the demon imperial scriptures. The cultivator opened his eyes after a short time and inspected his memories. His eyes were filled with greed. As expected, great imperial scriptures, very powerful. Unfortunately, I'm not a demon cultivator, said the emperor. Even though Lin Feng had only broken through to the 7th Zunqi layer, with the demon imperial scriptures, he was probably a lot stronger than ordinary cultivators of the 8th Zunqi layer. If he knew the imperial scriptures well, he might even fight against cultivators of the 9th Zunqi layer. When will you give me the other half? Asked the emperor. He looked a bit reassured. He almost sounded friendly. My teacher has been injured by cosmic energies, and I need him to heal. Otherwise, I won't be safe after you get the full deal, said Lin Feng. The emperor smiled and said in a gentle way, How could I? I would definitely let you go if you gave me the full scriptures. The emperor was in a great mood. He really thought about letting Lin Feng off. Of course, he just had that thought. He had betrayed his group, so he couldn't let Lin Feng off. Master, my teacher is injured. I need you to help me find a solution. After all, you're very strong, and we're not familiar with the great world. The sooner you help, the faster you'll get the full scriptures. Thank you, Master, said Lin Feng, smiling politely. He even called the emperor Master. Lin Feng had an idea, but nobody knew what it was. Emperor Yu sighed. He knew that Lin Feng was obstinate and unruly. He was proud because Lin Feng was talented, but he was sad because if he hadn't been injured, he would have been able to protect Lin Feng. In this desert, there are many extremely powerful animal clans. They pose a threat to the tribes of the desert. However, those who are from tribe fortresses also grow quickly. Each of these fortresses have a healer. We can try and find one. However, your teacher has been injured by an emperor. So unless we find a healer who is an emperor, he won't be able to recover completely," said the emperor in a gentle way. "Why don't we leave the desert? The great world can't only be a huge desert," said Lin Feng. "This great world had to have powerful cities. My group controls small worlds and not only yours. All the tribe fortresses here belong to them. So you can't imagine how powerful they are. Even though I don't know if other people escaped like you, this time they really have clear and precise goals that they will follow no matter what. They won't let any escapee off. But in this tribe fortress you're safe," said the emperor. Lin Feng sighed. What was the Imperial Assassin Union's goal? Did they have other goals for cleaning the small worlds? "So, master, how can we heal my teacher?" asked Lin Feng. "We need to find a priestess," said the emperor. "Each fortress has a priestess whose duty is to heal." Lin Feng and Emperor Yu followed him while hiding their qi, looking like ordinary people. After a short time, they arrived in front of the entrance to a tribe and crossed the door. It was a tribe and it wasn't a nice place. It was dusty, simple, and nothing was sophisticated. Everybody there were tanned to the color of copper. Lin Feng was too handsome in comparison. Many people looked at him in a way which made him feel uncomfortable. Lin Feng's skin was very white. He looked clean and elegant. In that place, there was nobody like him. "Don't show your strength. Be discreet, otherwise some people will inspect your strength and will know about us," said the emperor, hiding his own qi too. He used telepathy to talk to them. Lin Feng and Emperor Yu nodded and followed. Chapter 1530. Dialogue. In the center of the territory, there was a tidy row of cottages surrounded by fields of medicinal herbs. There was a woman wearing a golden and white dress who was sorting herbs. "Yun, you brought so many herbs again," said an old man smiling at the woman. "Grandpa, they contributed a lot. Without them, I wouldn't have gotten so much," replied Yun, gesturing towards a young man. "Hee, without you, they'd have lost their lives," said the old man smiling. A strong young man was carrying an animal body on his shoulders behind them. That animal was a few dozens of meters and was 7-8 meters tall. It had golden hair covering its body. "Rong Qing, you're really hardworking," said the old man. The woman smiled and looked Rong Qing, who threw the animal body on the ground. "Yin, here it is." "Thank you," replied the young woman politely. Rong Qing looked at her with love in his eyes and said, "If everything's all right, I'm going." "All right," said the girl, nodding. Rong Qing didn't want to leave, but he left anyways. After a few steps, he stopped again after seeing 3 strangers walking towards the girl. Lin Feng sensed that the young man was looking at him. He inspected him and found that he wasn't weak, 4th Zun Qi layer even. Zun cultivators must be normal in the holy city, thought Lin Feng. He noticed many Zun cultivators all around, even cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer. He didn't see any emperors though. "Who are you?" asked Rong Qing to Lin Feng and the 2 others. "We're looking for Mu Yun," said Lin Feng. The young woman raised her head and walked towards them. Rong Qing was fixedly staring at them and prevented them from passing. "What do you want from her?" "Rong Qing, let them pass," said the woman. Rong Qing then let them pass, but he followed them. "What do you want from me?" asked Mu Yun directly. Lin Feng was surprised. She had an amazing body, and she looked gentle. Unlike everybody else in the tribe, she also had very white skin. "My teacher is injured. We would like you to heal him," said Lin Feng, pointing at Emperor Yu. "Let me see." Mu Yun walked to Emperor Yu and put her hand on his shoulder. Then she released some pure celestial qi. After she inspected Emperor Yu's body, she said with surprise, "Your channel vessels are all broken. It's surprising that you're still alive or even look normal. My teacher's body is strong. Can you heal him though?" asked Lin Feng. Emperor Yu was still restraining his cosmic energies. Zun cultivators used their channel vessels to heal, but emperors were beyond strong in that if they still had qi, they didn't die. "Let me try, but I'll need some time. I don't know if I'll succeed either. After all, I've never had such an injured patient," said Mu Yin, frowning. "Thank you," said Lin Feng. At least they could try. Besides, they could hide there for some time. The desert was vast, and there were many tribes. I have some empty cottages, you can stay there and rest in the meantime, said Mu Yun. Rongqing was upset, so he said using telepathy, Yun, we don't know who they are. How can you let them stay here? Who would hurt me when he's this severely injured? Asked Mu Yun, shaking her head. Even though Rongqing wasn't happy, what could he do? Lin Feng was nervous, especially when he saw people flying above them in the sky. He was especially worried about his friends. At night, Lin Feng was seated cross-legged and practicing cultivation calmly. Emperor Yu was in the same room as him. The Thunder Emperor was next door. But he couldn't sleep because he kept thinking about the great emperor's imperial scriptures. He was worried that Lin Feng could escape as well. But after a few days, he felt more relaxed. Lin Feng and Emperor Yu stayed there, and nobody came to look for them. Mu Yun wasn't an empress, but she was a great healer. She knew some amazing techniques. She concocted some medicine, and Emperor Yu's channel vessels slowly healed. She couldn't heal his cosmic energies though. Lin Feng, Emperor Yu recovered a lot. Will you transmit the great emperor's ancient scriptures to me now? Asked the Thunder Emperor in a courtyard. Not yet, said Lin Feng, shaking his head. How long do I still have to wait? Asked the Thunder Emperor in a cold way. I will tell you when the right time comes, of course. Otherwise you can just kill me, said Lin Feng in a cold way. Then, he walked back to his cottage. You. The emperor was furious, but he decided to wait. He waited for Lin Feng to leave before whispering, once you transmit the scriptures to me, you'll die. Lin Feng continued practicing cultivation day and night. Emperor Yu could only watch as Lin Feng practiced cultivation. Sometimes, he saw Lin Feng's painful facial expressions inside. He didn't know what Lin Feng was studying, but it looked painful. Besides, he was practicing cultivation every day without break. Lin Feng had already been in that world for 7 days now. Back in a gigantic city in the desert, there was a gigantic castle, which looked like a shrine. The flight of stairs which lead to the entrance was astonishingly lofty. At that moment, in that castle, a middle-aged man in golden clothes was punching an ancient wooden table furiously. The ground shook each time he threw a punch. Emperor Dong was there too. How many days? Said someone in a weak voice. 7 days, said a strong cultivator respectfully. That strong cultivator was the one who had fought against Mu Chen, the medium-level emperor. 7 days, where are the people I want? Everybody lowered their heads. They didn't dare talk. Seal the passages if you see anyone, capture them, said that person furiously. Besides, I will send people to inspect the desert, every single castle in the desert. Chapter 1531. Small world's people inspect everything, yelled the middle-aged man, hammering on the table with his fists. So many people escaped from you. I don't understand how you could let this happen. Those around him were covered in a cold sweat. Emperor Dong looked terrified. He didn't dare raise his head. At that moment, the middle-aged man slowly stood up, making the crowd around him feel extremely nervous. Emperor Dong, shouted the middle-aged man. Emperor Dong was shaking, but he replied, present. You're lucky that you have my blood. Even though we sent you to a small world, because you couldn't rely on your own abilities to break through to the Huangqi layer. We still spent a lot of resources raising you, said the middle-aged man. Emperor Dong almost collapsed. He knew how bad-tempered that middle-aged man was. I am fully devoted, said Emperor Dong, shaking. Since that sword emperor doesn't want to let us restrain the small world, go to the small world, and tell everyone that the world they live in is just a small world controlled by stronger cultivators. Also, tell the messenger to relax the restrictions to come out. Let nature take its course, said the middle-aged man calmly. Emperor Dong's heart was pounding violently. He could only imagine how many people would want to leave that world if he told them that their world was fake. Many of them would want to come to the great world, and the situation would be chaotic and apocalyptic. Relax the restrictions to come out. Emperor Dong didn't really understand, but he didn't dare ask. In the future, the strong cultivators from Ba Huang and Jiu Yu would want to live in the great world, including those who already came. A day later, Emperor Dong went back to Ba Huang. Emperor Qi and him started telling everyone that they lived in a small world, and that the holy city was the real world. Many people were astonished. Shui Yao was in the celestial land of alchemists when she heard the news. So this is a small world. In the western part of Bahuang, two beautiful girls looked at the sky and the clouds. All of this is fake? In the brutal part of Bahuang, in the bestial imperial palace, a great oriental greenfinch rock attacked a mountain in rage before he flew up towards the sky, emitting sonic booms behind him. He looked ferocious as he said, "I'm a great oriental greenfinch rock, so I must leave Bahuang and go to the great world. The sky can't stop me." Diviner, you weren't exactly right. Many geniuses looked in the direction of eastern Bahuang. It was said that the end of the world was there, that the passage to go to the great world was there. Lin Feng was sitting outside looking at a tree. He looked calm and serene. He wasn't releasing any qi. "Lin Feng, you're still here? How's your teacher?" asked an old man smiling. "He's much better, Papa Bai," said Lin Feng smiling. "Haha, Yin is the goddess of our tribe. No man has ever managed to seduce her. But you should try," said Papa Bai smiling. He was in a good mood. "But let me tell you, Yun wants a young man who is at least a cultivator at the top of the Zunqi layer. So good luck." "No hope," said Lin Feng smiling in a gentle way and shrugging, making Papa Bai laugh. "Papa Bai, you're talking about me in a bad way," said Mu Yin. Lin Feng turned around. She really looked beautiful as she healed Emperor Yu. Even Lin Feng, who was used to being with beautiful women, sighed. Lin Feng smiled at Mu Yin in a gentle and warm way. Mu Yin nodded at him, but was surprised when she saw Lin Feng's resplendent smile. Apart from helping her teacher, she also allowed them to live with their tribe. She looked at them in a gentle way. They were different from all the men she had met in her life. They looked like they had gone through many hardships. Lin Feng is here every day, and he has nothing to do. He's not even practicing cultivation. Even if he wanted to be in a relationship with you, I wouldn't agree," said Papa Bai jokingly. They were sitting on a bamboo chair looking at a tree. In the desert, a tree was a grand thing. Mu Yin smiled thinly, and Papa Bai didn't say anything. That night, the desert became cold as the sun set. Papa Bai and Mu Yin went back to their houses while Lin Feng went back to his courtyard. But suddenly, someone appeared in front of him with a mad look in his eyes. Then, a hand filled with thunderous energies grabbed his throat. "It's been 10 days. I've waited long enough." Lin Feng frowned. Emperor Yu came out of his cottage and said coldly, "Let him go. If he doesn't transmit the rest of the scriptures to me, I'll kill him," said the Thunder Emperor madly. Lin Feng nodded and said, "All right, let's go outside to the desert. I don't want to release my godly awareness here." This time, the emperor was happily speechless. He hadn't thought that Lin Feng would immediately accept. He smiled and let go of Lin Feng. "Ah, good. You should have done that before. I won't hurt you anyways." "Let's go out," said Lin Feng. The Emperor Yu and Lin Feng were extremely fast as they flew in the night. In just a few seconds, they were already outside, and there was nobody in sight. "All right, here is good. Let's do it," said the Emperor impatiently. "Master, don't think of killing us to destroy any evidence. I also have the Dream of Life ancient scriptures, which in a month, I'll transmit them to you," said Lin Feng. The Thunder Emperor smiled and said, All right. How could I ever kill you guys anyways?" He was thinking, Lin Feng is very vigilant. He wants to protect himself with that Dream of Life ancient scriptures. No problem. I'll wait until I have all his treasures and kill him then. He was confident that a cultivator of the 7th Zunqi layer couldn't possibly pose a threat to him. And Emperor Yu was an emperor from a small world, and he was injured, so he couldn't fight against him either. "Master, I'm starting," said Lin Feng, who was condensing his godly awareness. The Thunder Emperor's eyes twinkled with excitement. Lin Feng's godly awareness moved into his third eye, but he couldn't relax at all. He kept glancing at Emperor Yu. However, a black strength penetrated the Thunder Emperor's third eye. He frowned after he sensed something. Then he suddenly opened his eyes and lightning emerged from them. Chapter 1532. Celestial castles. He sensed cursing strength, and a destructive godly awareness invade him. Lin Feng was just a cultivator of the 7th Zunqi layer, and yet he dared plot against him. Thunders boomed, and lightning shot out from the emperor. Boom! The Thunder Emperor was shaking as some soul-cursing energies exploded in his brain. Die! Lin Feng's godly awareness was still invading the Thunder Emperor's brain. He was also using his godly awareness palace with the soul-cursing energies. He knew he couldn't kill his enemy, so he was trying to stun him. Emperor Yu was an emperor, so he already knew what Lin Feng was going to do. While Lin Feng used his broken soul godly awareness on the Thunder Emperor, Emperor Yu attacked and released his most powerful cosmic energies. He immediately struck the Thunder Emperor. Arg! The Thunder Emperor shouted furiously. Suddenly, he released an infinite amount of thunder energies, which crashed onto Emperor Yu's body. Emperor Yu had already made an armor out of cosmic energies for Lin Feng, but it broke away easily. Arg! Lin Feng shouted like a demon. Now Lin Feng's sword lights moved towards the enemy. Kaboom! Thunders descended from the sky as a thunder god illusion appeared. This illusion was also holding a thunder hammer. What a powerful spirit, thought Emperor Yu. Emperor Yu jumped forwards and released terrifying energies in the Thunder Emperor's direction. His physical body exploded and was destroyed, but because his spirit was so powerful, it didn't die with his body. Emperor Yu rose up in the air and released more cosmic energies to attack that spirit. With that, the enemy's spirit slowly faded. But the spirit didn't stop. It started running away instead. Emperor Yu and Lin Feng were lying on the ground. Emperor Yu's injuries were even more severe. Lin Feng's organs were injured as well. They hadn't even managed to kill the emperor completely. Unfortunately, one more attack, and they would have managed to kill him. But at least they were out of danger for now. Teacher, are you all right? Lin Feng crawled on the ground. Could be better. Let's go back, said Emperor Yu, smiling and crawling up as well. He then said, Lin Feng, you already did a great job. He managed to escape because his soul is stronger than many low-level emperors from Ba Huang. I used cosmic energies and destroyed his physical body, but not his soul. Of course, I'm injured. Otherwise I could have done better. Indeed, said Lin Feng, laughing. They had been loud, so people were surely going to find out about them. They both immediately went back to the fortress. As expected, people were shouting and panicking after they heard the battle. Lin Feng and Emperor Yu got away from the crowd. They couldn't expose themselves, otherwise other enemies might find them. They opened the main gate and entered. There was someone sitting on a stone chair, illuminated by the bright moon. You're back. You shouldn't go outside because you're injured, said the girl, smiling in a gentle way. Then she looked at Lin Feng and said, What happened? Did some of the young men from the tribe bully you? Tomorrow, I will check your injuries, but you two should sleep for now. Then the girl slowly walked out of the fortress. As she passed by Lin Feng, he could smell her perfume. After she left, they closed the gate behind them. Then, Lin Feng and Emperor Yu glanced at each other and walked to the courtyard silently. What was happening outside no longer had anything to do with them. Lin Feng and Emperor Yu slept all night. The next day, Mu Yin continued healing Emperor Yu. She checked his injuries and released pure celestial energies without saying anything. Then, her energies flew throughout Emperor Yu's body and healed him. She noticed that his injuries were worse than the day before, but she said nothing. Let me see that now, said Mu Yin to Lin Feng, after she finished with Emperor Yu. Lin Feng nodded and stretched out his arms. He put his hands on her hands, and she released pure celestial again. Why do they call you a priestess? Asked Lin Feng, trying to think of something to say. Because we don't live for ourselves. We live for other people, said Mu Yin gently. You don't live for yourselves? Lin Feng continued. Everybody respects you and many men are attracted by you in the tribe. Isn't that good? The 9 celestial palaces choose girls from different tribes and teach them particular powers. Although everybody respects those priestesses, we don't have much freedom. Our everything belongs to those celestial castles, including our lives, said Mu Yin in a gentle voice. She didn't know why she said all this to Lin Feng, but maybe it was because she knew Lin Feng's secret. You're from the small world, so you probably haven't been to the big cities yet. When you're both cured, I'll take you out and show you the celestial castle, said Mu Yun with a smile. Chapter 1533. Celestial Qi Castle. How do you know that I'm from a small world? Asked Lin Feng. The Celestial Qi Castle has been pretty agitated recently. Border controls have become stricter, and they sent even strong cultivators to inspect the desert. They're even capturing people from abroad. Yesterday evening, I heard sounds coming from your cottage and came over. But when I arrived, you weren't there anymore. Then things happened outside, and after it stopped, you came back. From all of that, I guessed you were from a small world. Thank you for keeping our secrecy, said Lin Feng wholeheartedly. Don't thank me. I'm just doing my best. Some dangerous things might happen to you soon. The Celestial Qi Castle probably knows about yesterday evening already, said Mu Yin. Lin Feng's eyes twinkled as he said, All right, then we should leave. Will we be safer if we go to another tribe? Mu Yin shook her head. All the priestesses belong to them. I do too. If you go elsewhere, you'll draw more attention. If you stay here, I can do my best to help you. Besides, I told you I'd bring you elsewhere when you're cured. Do you understand? All right, I'm going to concoct some more medicine for you, said Mu Yin. We're lucky, said Emperor Yu after Mu Yin left. Lin Feng nodded. Indeed, they were lucky. Mu Yin was so gentle. Anyone else would have alerted the authorities. Creak! The door suddenly opened. Mu Yin's facial expression changed. Some people are here. Yun, said a voice. Lin Feng and Emperor Yu's facial expressions changed drastically. Mu Yin talked to them using telepathy. If anyone asks, you're my father and my big brother. Then she left the room and said, I'm here. A young man opened the main gate of the tribe. He looked at Mu Yin and smiled. Yun, long time no see. It was a handsome young man, who didn't look like someone from the tribe. What are you doing here? Asked Mu Yin calmly. However, the young man's face changed a little as he looked at a cottage in a cold way. There are people inside, said the young man in a cold way. Then, he rushed towards the cottage and destroyed the door. He found two people inside. They all glanced at each other. Mu Yin looked nervous. She was worried that the young man had already seen them before. Mu Yin was right to fear. Lin Feng and Emperor Yu knew him. That young man had also seen both Lin Feng and Emperor Yu before. He was Qi Yuchun. What a coincidence. Yin, who are they? At that moment, Qi Yuchun saw a yellow-faced, middle-aged man who looked sick and injured. His qi wasn't very strong either. And there was also a young man. His face was dark, and he had no qi. No matter how you looked at him, he looked ordinary. How unlucky, thought Lin Feng. Qi Yuchun, what's that supposed to mean? Asked Mu Yin in a cold way. She walked to Lin Feng, put her hand on Lin Feng's hand, and said to Qi Yuchun coldly, Piss off, don't disturb my dad and brother. Qi Yuchun's facial expression suddenly changed. Brother and father? Yun, you know I didn't mean to bother them, said Qi Yuchun. He looked sincerely apologetic. I don't care, go away, said Mu Yin. Qi Yuchun smiled and said, All right, let's go and talk. I need to tell you something, said Qi Yuchun before he walked away. Brother, dad, sorry for that, said Mu Yin in a gentle and warm way. Qi Yuchun looked even more sorry after he heard that. Yun, how come I've never heard about your brother and father? Asked Qi Yuchun. Why would I tell you about that? Said Mu Yin. Qi Yuchun smiled wryly and said, Yun, I'm sorry for what happened. It's already too late, said Mu Yin. Qi Yuchun was speechless. He could only change the topic now. Yun, yesterday evening, something happened here that I'm sure you've heard about already. Are there any strangers here? There are no strangers here, and if there were, I haven't seen them, said Mu Yin. All right, be careful. I'll go and inspect the tribe with my team, said Qi Yuchun. After Qi Yuchun was far enough away, Mu Yin went back to Lin Feng's cottage. She looked at Lin Feng and Mu Yin's new faces with surprise. Then she laughed and asked, Which face is your real one? What do you think? Asked Lin Feng before he took off the mask. He smiled and said, I've already seen Qi Yuchun. Who is he to you? A young master of the Celestial Qi Castle. He's a direct descendant, so his social status is very high, said Mu Yin. She didn't seem to like him, but he was quite polite to her. With his social status, He could easily do anything he wanted to her. But he didn't. Is the Celestial Qi Castle the head of the Qi clan? Whispered Lin Feng. He seems to like you very much, said Lin Feng smiling. Mu Yun smiled wryly. She didn't know whether it was a good or bad thing. Use your other face. Although you've been here for a while, you haven't walked around a lot, so not many people know you. I'll continue making medicine for you, and in a few days, we'll go to the Celestial Qi Castle together, said Mu Yun. As Mu Yun had said, Qi Yuchen didn't find anything. Lin Feng hadn't drawn people's attention in the tribe either. After Qi Yuchen found nothing, he left for another place. Lin Feng felt relieved. Thanks to Mu Yun, Lin Feng and Emperor Yu were recovering quickly, especially Lin Feng, whose injuries were easier to heal. Several peaceful days passed. Lin Feng had already spent 2 months in that world now. Lin Feng's skin was much darker, tanned from the sun in that desert. The sun was red, and was slowly sinking beyond the horizon. Someone approached Lin Feng and smiled. Do you miss your hometown? I miss my friends and family members, said Lin Feng smiling. He missed Meng Qing and Qiu Yuexian. How strong had they become? You still have some people to miss at least, said Mu Yun smiling. Then she continued. I'm going to the Celestial Qi Castle tomorrow. We can go all together. Tomorrow, whispered Lin Feng. 2 months had passed, so he finally had to leave. Chapter 1534. Qingdi Mountain. If Celestial Qi Castle is the backing of the Qi clan, and Emperor Dong is the leader of the Qi clan in the small world, then the Qi clan must only be a subgroup, thought Lin Feng. Qi Yuchen had come to the tribe to inspect it, so how strong was the Celestial Qi Castle in the Great World? Yun, we're at the border of the Great World, and we can go to small worlds from here. Just how strong are the 9 celestial castles exactly? Asked Lin Feng. He knew nothing about the castles. Since they were leaving, he needed to know a bit more. The place that connects to the small world is in this gigantic desert. Each city has the name of a powerful group. For example, Celestial Qi City is named after the Celestial Qi Castle, said Mu Yun to Lin Feng. The 9 celestial castles also make up the 9 great cities. The Celestial Qi Castle is one of them. They also control some of small worlds, which you can access from the desert. The Celestial Qi Castle, the Celestial Sikong Castle, and the Celestial Palace of the Punishing Thunders have been controlling small worlds for 10,000 years already. Celestial Palace of the Punishing Thunders, Celestial Sikong Castle, Celestial Qi Castle. Lin Feng suddenly understood a lot more. The Celestial Qi Castle and the Celestial Sikong Castle were obviously the leaders of the Qi clan and the Sikong clan. Concerning the Celestial Palace of the Punishing Thunders, Lin Feng was thinking about the messenger who knew the Punishing Thunder Heart Sutra. Why 10,000 years? Asked Lin Feng. Controlling several small worlds is extremely advantageous. There are some arrangements. I don't know the details, but I know that every 10,000 years, they fight to see who will control the worlds. Besides, it seems like those 10,000 years have already passed, so the leaders of the small worlds will change again. Lin Feng understood that everything going on in the small world probably had something to do with all that. Now, you understand why those people are looking for you, said Mu Yun in a gentle way. She had compassion for him. She was a priestess who had no freedom. She was controlled by the same people who controlled small world. They were all like pawns to these groups of influence. Apart from the 9 castles, other groups can't decide who the next leaders will be. In this world, only strength matters. Apart from the celestial castles, there are many terrifying cities also located in the desert. They all belong to one place, the Qingdi Mountain. Great Emperor Qing founded the Qingdi Mountain. Usually, they don't get involved in affairs related to the outside world. It's more like a holy cultivation place. Those who can practice cultivation in the Qingdi Mountain are rare. But in theory, anyone could go there, including people from the celestial castles. The Celestial Wen Castle had a disciple go to the Qingdi Mountain. Therefore, according to rumors, the Celestial Wen Castle might gain control over the small worlds again, said Mu Yun. Lin Feng was surprised again. Celestial Wen Castle. and the one clan from the central part of Bahuang. Yun, 10,000 years ago, the Celestial Wind Castle controlled the small worlds, and later on the Celestial Seakong Castle. And then Celestial Qi Castle took control over them? Asked Lin Feng. Indeed. The 9 celestial palaces can't break the equilibrium of the small worlds. No matter who is in control, they can't because it would have an impact on the controllers. Rules have always existed, but last time I heard my teacher say that some things were going to change drastically this time. No wonder the Wen clan is so mysterious. They're like the Qi clan and the Seakong clan. They also control a part of the world in the form of the Watchers. Maybe the small world will be theirs in the next 10,000 years. Thought Lin Feng. The assassins allowed the Watchers to exist because they had to respect the equilibrium of the small world. It was also because they didn't know who the next controllers would be. Without the equilibrium, the Watchers would have been annihilated a long time ago. Yun, thank you so much for helping us, said Lin Feng. You're not completely healed yet, so you should rest early, said Yun smiling before she left. Lin Feng lied down for a long time before he went back to his cottage and told Emperor Yu what Mu Yin had told him. The next day, the sun was high in the sky and was scorching hot. Mu Yin had changed her clothes into a skin-tight leather, showing off her perfect body. Lin Feng and Emperor Yu followed her as they traveled to the Celestial Qi Castle. Yun! Shouted Rongqing in the distance. Then he ran towards her and said, Yun, are you going to buy some things in the Celestial Qi Castle? If so, I'm coming with you. Rongqing also glanced at Lin Feng. No, I'm a priestess, so nothing can happen to me, said Mu Yun. Rongqing shook his head and said, The Celestial Qi Castle is capturing people nowadays, so I'm worried about you. I'm coming with you and I'll protect you. Rongqing was kind of right actually, so Mu Yin nodded and said, All right, come then. After that, all of them flew away. The 6 of them flew over many tribes, hundreds in fact. Each tribe looked like a city. Some were even larger than Shuiyu. Finally, they approached a larger city. It was the first time that Lin Feng had seen a real city since arriving in that world. The buildings were huge, lofty, and they were thousands of meters high. Right now there are some things going on in the small worlds, so you can't fly in. Instead, you must go through the gate while proving that you are from a tribe, said Mu Yun. You don't need to worry about that though. I'm a priestess and you're with me, said Mu Yin. Let's go, said Mu Yun as she walked towards the guards. But at that moment, the ground quaked as many people riding beasts approached. They were galloping at full speed, making the ground shake below them. Why are they here? They're early. Mu Yin frowned when she saw those riders. Chapter 1535. Bronze plate. What's wrong? Asked Lin Feng. Those knights are people from the Celestial Qi Castle, but they usually don't leave the city. They usually only go out when people compete to control the small worlds. They usually go to all the tribes and inform people. And at the same time, they also recall all the priestesses of the tribes, said Mu Yun. The knights continued galloping, passing in front of Lin Feng and the others. Very quickly, the knight rode away and disappeared into the desert. Only one force could have made that happen, whispered Mu Yun. Qingdi Mountain. Lin Feng and the others then walked to the gate. The guards were strict as they checked everybody. Master, I'm from a tribe, and we want to enter the Celestial Qi Castle, said Mu Yin to a guard. He looked at her and smiled. He seemed to know her as he said familiarly, Miss Mu Yun, you're always welcome. Then Mu Yun and the others went in. Even though priestesses were from tribes, they were members of the celestial castles. Therefore, she was confident that Lin Feng, an emperor, you could go in with her. After they entered, she explained to them, That's the Celestial Qi Castle. Even though it seems very near, it's actually very far away, whispered Mu Yin. Lin Feng looked at the gigantic and ancient castle in awe. Destroying such a castle would definitely be a spectacular show. The 9 celestial castles represent a tripartite balance of power, with a buffer zone in the middle. We're going to that buffer zone now. They have the best market there. You can surely find anything there, said Mu Yin. Lin Feng nodded. I've heard that many years ago, The 9 castles used to be one, and that strong cultivators gradually emerged and divided the city. Of course, that was a very, very long time ago, so we can't know if that's true or not. If you cross the buffer zone, you'll leave the 9 great celestial castles and arrive in another one of the cities of the Qingdi mountain. Muyin was talking a lot. She was pretending to be a guide, but she was actually telling Lin Feng how to leave if he needed. Yin, why would we go so far? We can find a market in the celestial Qi castle. That'd be enough, said Rong Qing behind her. She kept talking to Lin Feng, so Rong Qing was getting jealous. Besides, the celestial Qi city was a gigantic place. Going to the buffer zone would take a long time. I've never been there, so I really want to see it, said Muyin. Rong Qing was speechless, so he just glanced at Lin Feng angrily. Why was Muyin being so nice to him? Had they fallen in love after living together for 2 months? Luckily, that foreigner was going to leave soon. He couldn't take Muyin away after all. You've never been to the buffer zone, said Lin Feng, surprised. Is it strange? Many people from the tribes are like me. Most people from the celestial Qi city never leave this place either. Aren't there powerful alchemists or healers in that place? Asked Lin Feng. He was still worried about Emperor Yu. I was going to tell you about that. In the 9 great celestial castles, there's a powerful group called the Palace of Medicinal Kings, and they have some very powerful healers. However, it's difficult to get seen by them, said Muyin. They walked and talked at the same time. Muyin told Lin Feng many things about the great world, including the locations of the 9 great celestial castles. She also told him about the great celestial palace of thoughtfulness and their strong cultivators who mastered golden holy Qi skills. After she told him that, Lin Feng immediately thought about 2 people, Zhou Tianshao and Zhou Tianrua. Even though the celestial Qi city was just a city on the edge of the great world, Lin Feng found the buildings astonishing and even terrifying. It took them an entire day to cross the city to the buffer zone. They even had to run during part of the day. Finally, Lin Feng arrived in the buffer zone. It was even larger than celestial Qi city, and there were even more people. Even though Muyin had never been there, she had heard about it, especially the market. The buildings were resplendent and magnificent. Lin Feng had seen many priceless holy weapons in the small world, but there, they were numerous. There were even high-level holy weapons which left Lin Feng speechless. Mister, what's that broken piece of bronze? Asked Muyin to a vendor. Broken piece of bronze? Miss, I got it from the everlasting cave of the immortals. Don't you know it? It's the everlasting celestial emperor's cave. Everyone admired him a long time ago, said the old man who was scratching his long beard. How much does it cost? Asked Muyin. 100 abstruse energy tablets, said the old man. Yin, it's a rip-off. Let's go, said Rong Qing, rolling his eyes. Did the old man think he was dumb? That was just a broken piece of bronze. Little boy, don't talk nonsense. Do you know who the everlasting celestial emperor is? He controlled 3,000 great protection spells, a 108,000 small protection spells. He can even use the sky to create protective areas, said the old man. Rong Qing rolled his eyes. What did the emperor have to do with that piece of bronze, though? Muyin shook her head and walked away. That was too expensive anyways. Let's go, said Muyin to Lin Feng. I just had the sensation that item was different, but when I touched it, nothing happened. Lin Feng shrugged. The price was way too high. Hey, wait, said the old man to Lin Feng. Your girlfriend likes it, so won't you buy it for her? Even 10 abstruse energy tablets will be fine. I guarantee you that it's one of the everlasting celestial emperor's items. Look at the 2 words carved on it. Lin Feng frowned but looked anyways, and he did see 2 words. Lin Feng shivered. That thing made his spirit shake. His eyes suddenly became pitch black as he inspected it. Lin Feng's reaction made Muyin and the others stop. Rong Qing still looked unhappy. Surprisingly, the old man thought Muyin was Lin Feng's girlfriend. How about 5 abstruse tablets? Asked Lin Feng. The old man's eyes twinkled. 8, that's my final price. All right, forget about it then, said Lin Feng, throwing the bronze plate at the old man. All right, 5, that's a deal, said the old man desperately. Lin Feng took the bronze plate back and gave the old man 5 abstruse tablets. Chapter 1536, Exposed. Lin Feng's celestial book spirit reacted in a strange way when he looked at that tablet. Besides, Lin Feng had now broken through to the 7th Zunqi layer, and his abstruse energies were at a high level, so he couldn't use abstruse tablets anymore to improve his abstruse energies. Therefore, 5 abstruse tablets weren't that much for him. It seems like that thing must be good for my spirit. What a strange treasure, thought Lin Feng, smiling indifferently. Then Mu Yin asked Lin Feng, "Why did you want that? Didn't you say that thing was different?" "I also sensed something, so I bought it," said Lin Feng. At the same time, he glanced around to see if there were other nice treasures. Mu Yin stopped and walked to another vendor's booth. It was an old man in ragged clothes. He had some medicinal herbs to sell. His stand was messy, so people didn't seem interested. However, Mu Yin seemed interested. She was looking at some red rhizome. She bent down and said, "Mister, what is the price?" The old man replied, 20 abstruse tablets. 20. Mu Yin didn't find that too expensive. The old man didn't even seem to know what that herb was. Maybe a fate seed wasn't even enough for that normally. The problem was Mu Yin hadn't sold the animal's body, so she had no abstruse tablets to bargain with yet. "I have some. Take them." Lin Feng gave Mu Yin some abstruse tablets. Mu Yin took them and gave them to the old man. "I want it." "All right, take it," said the old man. However, at that moment, Lin Feng frowned and released cold energies. Immediately after, he recalled his qi after he remembered he was in the celestial qi castle. He walked back as a gigantic hand was moving towards Mu Yin. "What are you doing?" shouted Mu Yin. That hand turned into a terrifying fire and crashed onto Mu Yin's hand. Then someone stole her rhizome. Boom! A brutal qi filled the sky as Rongqing and the others started running. "Wait!" shouted Mu Yin. Rongqing and the 2 others stopped. "Linda, what's that supposed to mean?" said Mu Yin. "I want it," said Linda to the old man. 30 abstruse tablets, what do you think? "All right," said the old man, nodding. Linda took out 30 abstruse tablets and gave them to the old man. Rongqing and the others looked at them in a cold way. The old man said to Mu Yin, "Take your 20 tablets back." "I already bought it." "Who do you think you are to cancel the transaction?" asked Mu Yin. "What a greedy old bastard. I'm not getting involved anymore. Just handle your things yourself then," said the old man. He put his things away and left. Mu Yin looked at Linda coldly and said, "Give me the dragon heart grass back." "I bought it. Why would I give it back to you? Go and find the old man if you want some more," said Linda. How could she give up? That thing was worth at least a fate seed. "You're shameless," shouted Mu Yin furiously. But the 2 people who were with Linda were too strong. She wouldn't be able to take it back. "Are you a man or not?" shouted Rongqing to Lin Feng. He knew that Lin Feng was strong, and that Mu Yin had done so much for him. "Rongqing," said Mu Yin in a cold way to Rongqing, "let's go." Then she turned around and left. She didn't even glance at Lin Feng, making him feel guiltier. It was true that she had done so much for him. Boom! An arrow flew, causing the sky to shake. Immediately after that, the 2 people who were next to Rongqing were enveloped, and they gave horrible shrieks as they gradually died. Mu Yin's face turned deathly pale. She turned around looking upset. She ran towards her servants, stretching out her hands, and 2 celestial lights appeared. But it was useless, they were dead already. "People from your tribe attacked my people first," said Linda, smiling coldly. Then, a powerful fire abstruse energy moved towards Rongqing. "Let him off," shouted Mu Yin loudly. "He wanted to kill me, so how could I let him off?" said Linda, smiling indifferently. The strong fire cultivator continued running towards Rongqing with fire in his hands. "Die!" said that cultivator who was laughing mockingly. However, at that moment, the fire turned black, pitch black like death, and it disappeared. Then he slowly collapsed. Mu Yin turned around and saw Lin Feng. What was that qi? Cursing energy? She hadn't seen Lin Feng chanting any mantras just before. Rongqing was amazed too, but Mu Yin just put her hand on his arm and said, "Let's go." She knew that Lin Feng and Emperor Yu didn't want to draw people's attention. They had already drawn too many people's attention by now. Soon there would be a crowd, and then they might be found out. Then Mu Yin left. Rongqing was furious as he shouted at Lin Feng. Any of the beasts in the desert have more compassion than you. Lin Feng ignored Rongqing. He didn't know Lin Feng had saved his life. He didn't know what had happened exactly. Many people rushed over. Emperor Yu said, Lin Feng. Yes, said Lin Feng nodding. He knew what Emperor Yu meant. They changed their faces again. Yin, after we leave, let's disperse. Please take care, said Lin Feng to Mu Yin. All right, you take care as well, said Mu Yin. She knew what Lin Feng needed to do. Yun, said someone in the distance. It was Qi Yuchun and some young men. Uncles, said Qi Yuchun to Lin Feng and Emperor Yu. What a coincidence. But we unfortunately have some things to do, so we must be going, said Mu Yin while dragging Emperor Yu and Lin Feng with her. Rongqing looked furious. Those people are foreigners, they can easily change their faces, shouted Rongqing. In a flash, it was as if time had stopped. Chapter 1537. Qi Yuchun glanced at Mu Yin in a cold way. He had the feeling he had been fooled. Capture them, shouted Qi Yuchun. Mu Yin wouldn't have thought that Rongqing would do something like that to her. Let's go, shouted Mu Yin to Lin Feng and Emperor Yu. Then their silhouettes flickered as they ran away. Jin Chen Jun, shouted Qi Yuchun. His voice traveled very far away in the distance. The buffer zone was the center of the 9 great celestial castles, so the guards from all the surrounding castles heard that. Qi Yuchun didn't leave. He chased Mu Yin while asking, "Why betray me?" Mu Yin looked furiously. Qi Yuchun was shouting so loud enough that more people would come. Qi Yuchun, I don't even know you, so I couldn't possibly betray you. You're just a nobody to me. All right. Qi Yuchun was furious. He tried to remain calm though. Mu Yin, you're a priestess, so you'll have to be punished for protecting those people who are wanted by the Celestial Qi Castle. No problem, said Mu Yin. As Rongqing heard them talk, he felt guilty. He was too impulsive. Maybe now Mu Yin would die. If Lin Feng hadn't attacked a moment ago, you'd be dead. And surprisingly you betrayed him, said Mu Yin. She looked really crushed. Rongqing, you're the worst kind of person. Mu Yin's words stabbed Rongqing's heart. Lin Feng had helped him? How? How could it be him? Rongqing kept shaking his head. He didn't believe it. I saw it with my own eyes. Who else could have helped you? Said Mu Yin. Lin Feng and Emperor Yu kept running, while people were chasing them. Even though they weren't emperors, they were cultivators at the top of the Zunqi layer. So the 2 leaders of the group were especially strong. The space of the small world and the great world are different. It seems like even emperors can't go into empty spaces here. Escaping will be very difficult. Lin Feng, you might have a chance to escape if I stay back. Why was his teacher doing that again? He might die if he does that, thought Lin Feng. Some emperors are chasing us. Lin Feng, you have to leave, said Emperor Yu. However, Lin Feng suddenly stopped. He didn't continue running away. Teacher, they don't want to kill me. Besides, I want to see how many people they've already captured. You go instead, said Lin Feng to his teacher using telepathy. Emperor Yu was incredulous as Lin Feng flew away. The Celestial Qi Castle, who controlled the Imperial Assassin Union, didn't want to kill the geniuses. They wanted to use them rather. Emperor Yu was different. He was an injured emperor, so he was useless to them. If they captured him, they'd kill him. Teacher, you go, shouted Lin Feng to Emperor Yu. Emperor Yu then continued running. He didn't know what to think at that moment. What could he do though? Lin Feng had already made himself a sacrifice, so Emperor Yu could only run away. Jin Chenjun caught up and looked at Lin Feng. Emperor Yu was already gone. Did you really think they could capture me? Shouted Lin Feng while releasing demonic energies, as well as sword energies. Die! Sword lights streaked across the sky. The one who was chasing Lin Feng was horrified as he watched Lin Feng's sword lights cut him in 2. The ones behind him suddenly stopped. They looked scared. Jin Chenjun wanted to chase Emperor Yu, but he heard Lin Feng's voice and turned around. After watching one of them die instantly, He had to agree that those people couldn't capture him. Only he could. Lin Feng looked at Jin Chenjun and said, I'm not weak and my teacher is injured, so even if you caught up with him, it would be pointless. Jin Chenjun looked at Lin Feng. He looked rather excited as he said, stomping out the source of trouble is always the best thing to do in case of a threat. I will let him off for now because you're quite strong, and I don't want other people to recruit you. Lin Feng was relieved. Even though Jin Chenjun only let his teacher off temporarily, at least, he'd have the chance to escape. Where are we going? Asked Lin Feng. To the Celestial Qi Castle, of course. Don't worry, I won't harm you. If you stick with me, you'll have a bright future, said Jin Chenjun smiling. Lin Feng didn't trust him though. He was sure Jin Chenjun wasn't going to kill him. But during the banquet in the Qi Empire, those from Ba Huang had gone back and killed their teachers. What could have made them do that? Can I have some time to solve an issue? Asked Lin Feng to Jin Chenjun. No problem. Just stay in my field of vision, said Jin Chenjun nodding. He seemed quite friendly. Thank you, said Lin Feng politely. Then he turned around, and those who had chased him before let him pass. They looked at him in a cold way, but they couldn't do anything to him. Chapter 1538. Danger. Lin Feng went back to Muyun, but Jin Chenjun was fixedly staring at him. He wouldn't let Lin Feng leave. Muyun felt guilty. She understood what was going on. Lin Feng, I'm sorry, it's all my fault. Muyun was thinking that if she hadn't brought Rongqing with them, Lin Feng would be safe and could have escaped. Yun, don't say that, I shouldn't have gotten you involved, said Lin Feng smiling in a gentle way. Muyun was a kind-hearted priestess. Everything was actually Rongqing's fault. Qi Yuchen looked at them coldly while saying, Jin Chenjun, thank you. I'm just fulfilling my duty, said Jin Chenjun smiling. The priestess protected him. So what do you intend to do? I'm taking her back to the Celestial Qi Castle, said Qi Yuchen. Lin Feng wasn't hiding his face anymore, so Qi Yuchen knew who he was. Jin Chenjun. That person's name is Lin Feng. He defeated Zhou Tianrua and Xiao Qifeng. He knows many different things. Bring him back to the Celestial Qi Castle personally, said Qi Yuchen. Zhou Tianrua was a cultivator from the Great Celestial Palace of Thoughtfulness and controlled Golden Holy Qi. Xiao Qifeng was a cultivator from the Celestial Transformation Palace. That's what I intended to do, said Jin Chenjun. Lin Feng walked to Rongqing and looked at him in a cold way. Lin Feng had saved him, and in exchange, Rongqing had betrayed him. Your mistake won't only get other people killed, it will get you killed as well, said Lin Feng. Rongqing didn't dare look at Lin Feng. He regretted everything. He hadn't thought his actions would have such repercussions. But what he thought wasn't important anymore. A death qi surrounded his body and started slowly corroding his life. No, don't kill me. I didn't know it was you, said Rongqing, shaking his head. He didn't want to die, but Lin Feng's death qi was terrifying. Die, said Lin Feng. Rongqing's life was slowly being drained. He was petrified, and then he slowly collapsed, dead. That's death abstruse energy as well as cursing energy. What a terrifying technique, thought Jin Chenjun. He didn't know what kind of skill or technique Lin Feng had used, but that was only natural because Lin Feng had created the attack himself. Let's go, said Lin Feng to Jin Chenjun naturally. He didn't know what the Celestial Qi Castle had planned for them. Please, said Jin Chenjun politely to Lin Feng. Lin Feng nodded at Mu Yun, and they both rose up in the air. Even though they were in the buffer zone, they could clearly see Celestial Qi Castle in the distance. All of the 8 other castles were the same. They were extremely far, but because they were gigantic, every one of them were visible from the buffer zone. Jin Chenjun and Qi Yuchen followed Lin Feng and Mu Yun. They didn't stay too far away, just in case Lin Feng tried something. After a short time they arrived at the castle. Celestial Qi Castle. Lin Feng raised his head and looked at the castle. Go up, said Jin Chenjun. Lin Feng and Mu Yun climbed the flight of stairs. Finally, they arrived at a flat area. Jin Chenjun, bring him to the main palace. I'm going to inform Master Mi, said Qi Yuchen to Jin Chenjun. Jin Chenjun nodded back. Then Qi Yuchen left and took Lin Feng and Mu Yin to another room. What will they do to you, Yin? Asked Lin Feng to Mu Yin using telepathy. I don't know. I'm a priestess, so I don't have any freedom. In the past, Qi Yuchun was polite to me, but now I infuriated him. So he will probably punish me, said Mu Yin sadly. Her life was in Qi Yuchun's hands. Lin Feng, don't worry about me. I've heard of Master Mi. He's a terrifying emperor. He knows some special skills which can leave imprints on people's souls, forcing them to obey Celestial Qi Castle. Qi Yuchun said he was going to inform him, so maybe they're planning to do that to you. Lin Feng frowned. He should have thought about that. People who use such skills aren't easy to defeat, right? I mean, they're not from any small worlds. Asked Lin Feng. Lin Feng, don't underestimate the people who came out of your small world. Even though I don't know the details, people like you who come out are incredibly talented and outstanding. When people like you are born in the great world, great influential powers raise them, choosing skills or techniques which are best suited for them. They are at the very least powerful, said Mu Yun. People here always join a power after they become strong enough, like the Qingdi Mountain. If you're strong enough, you can become a cultivator of the Qingdi Mountain as well. You don't need to pay anything either. Those who study in the Qingdi Mountain are respected by everyone. If those people notice you, you'd be lucky. Besides, the Qingdi Mountain won't impose anything. You can choose the life you want. When you're strong enough, you can even stay there or choose other groups. Groups like the Celestial Qi Castle, who choose to control their people, aren't as powerful as the Qingdi Mountain. However, the Celestial Qi Castle won't let people they control get to know people from the Qingdi Mountain, otherwise they might lose them, said Mu Yin. Chapter 1539. Control Lin Feng. The hall they were staying in was silent. Jin Shenjun was standing behind Lin Feng and Mu Yin to make sure they didn't try anything funny. Lin Feng was extremely nervous. If they took control over his body, he would be doomed. However, he couldn't resist, otherwise they'd just kill him. He just had to count on his luck now. Some of those strong cultivators had lived for hundreds, or even thousands of years, so how strong could they be? It was hard to imagine. I'll be fine, thought Lin Feng to himself. He was trying to cheer himself up. Even if some people controlled him, at least he'd be alive. Mu Yin and Lin Feng were the same at that moment. Her heart was pounding, and she was very nervous about losing her life. Tap tap. Lin Feng heard some steps. Then two people arrived. One of them was Qi Yuchun, while the other one had a mask on. But his eyes looked particularly evil. Lin Feng's godly awareness shook violently when he saw those eyes. Master Mi, said Jin Shenjun, bowing respectfully. Master Mi acted as if he hadn't seen him. His social status must be extremely high. Master Mi fixedly stared at Lin Feng while released terrifying energies. Suddenly, Lin Feng had the impression that his thoughts were becoming chaotic. He already had such a sensation back when he met the woman in the ancient battlefield of the Huangxi, the one who used the great dream of life cosmic energies. You're from the Celestial Qi Castle. You were born in the Celestial Qi Castle. You will die for the Celestial Qi Castle. The Celestial Qi Castle is your everything, said a voice in Lin Feng's brain. He wanted to print those pieces of information in Lin Feng's brain. No, how could? I will destroy the Celestial Qi Castle sooner or later. Lin Feng started resisting. He was very determined, but that voice kept resonating in his brain. As time dragged on, Lin Feng's resistance grew less and less. The strength started overcoming him, and he forgot everything as he listened to Master Mi's voice. Lin Feng, shouted Mu Yin. Her face had turned pale. However, a powerful strength suddenly made her suffocate. Jin Shenjun glanced at Qi Yuchun, and a terrifying force surrounded Mu Yin, pushing her outside the hall. Qi Yuchun knew that Master Mi couldn't be disturbed. This was a crucial moment in the process. He also left the hall, leaving only Lin Feng and Master Mi together. After a very long time, Master Mi said, "Sleep. Once you wake up, you'll have a new life." Lin Feng slowly closed his eyes, obeying Master Mi. Then, he fell asleep and slowly fell to the floor. Through the holes of his mask, one could see from his eyes that Master Mi looked exhausted. He closed his eyes and then opened them again. Then, He lifted Lin Feng and took him out of the hall. Lin Feng was asleep, so he didn't know what was going on. Some white lights twinkled around his godly awareness. It was a cosmic energy, Master Mi's imprint. But the light suddenly became dazzling, extremely dazzling, as if something was protecting Lin Feng from them. He had failed. Back then in the shrine, the envoy had tried to put something in Lin Feng's godly awareness, but had failed too. The same thing had happened now with Master Mi. Master Mi wasn't as strong as the envoy, so he didn't realize it. He brought Lin Feng to another place while he was sleeping. For him, Lin Feng was already under his control. Lin Feng would be a new person after waking up, and he'd work for the Celestial Qi Castle. In another beautiful room, Mu Yin looked at Qi Yuchun in a cold way. She was very weak, but she still hoped that everybody could be free in their world, and that nobody would control anyone else. But now Lin Feng, a nice young man, was going to turn into an evil demon for the Celestial Qi Castle. "What are you going to do with me?" asked Mu Yin to Qi Yuchun. Qi Yuchun looked indifferent. He was a descendant of the Celestial Qi Castle, so he had a high social status. He wasn't spoilt though. He fought to get what he wanted. He knew that there were too many strong cultivators in their world. He could have easily gotten Mu Yin if he had forced her, but he wanted to work to make her his. Qi Yuchun didn't know that Mu Yin didn't dislike him. She just disliked the Celestial Qi Castle. She knew Qi Yuchun was good to her, but she didn't want to have anything to do with the Celestial Qi Castle. If Qi Yuchun had been from another group, then things might have been different. "I really loved you, but don't worry. I won't rape a girl who hates me. Many of those people from the small worlds will be captured, and when the time comes, we'll need someone to host ceremonies. At that time you'll do that," said Qi Yuchun. Mu Yin's facial expression changed drastically, and then she turned deathly pale. "Qi Yuchun, you bastard." She obviously knew what it meant. "It's an honor for you. Maybe some incredible people will please you sexually," said Qi Yuchun. "Concerning your tribe, don't worry. I'll find another good priestess for them. The people of your tribe will love her, and they'll forget about you." After that, Qi Yuchun left the room. As he was leaving he said, "Don't try to escape, you're beautiful. And there are many people who like beautiful women in the Celestial Qi Castle. They aren't as nice as me." Mu Yin felt powerless. She couldn't escape, and she was going to become a sex slave. Chapter 1540. Control. In a small forest, there was a great celestial qi, which made people feel extremely comfortable. Master Mi was sitting there when someone wearing purple clothes arrived. Master Mi was startled by them. Although they looked at that Master Mi respectfully, they actually despised him. After a long time, Master Mi opened his eyes again, but he still couldn't see properly. "Is it good now?" asked Master Mi. "It's good now. I also asked the Great Master to go and check," said the person in purple clothes respectfully. "All right," said Master Mi, nodding. He glanced at Lin Feng, who was lying next to him. Lin Feng opened his eyes. He had been awake for a while, but he could sense that Master Mi was looking at him. He stood up and bowed before Master Mi and that person in purple clothes. Then he shouted respectfully, "Master." Master Mi looked at Lin Feng expressionlessly. Controlling a cultivator of the 7th Zun Qi layer was easy for him, so he didn't feel proud. He had practiced that technique for 1,000 years already, and he had never failed. He could even control low-level emperors. "All right." Master Mi finally stood up and said to Lin Feng, "Follow me." "Roger, Master," said Lin Feng respectfully. The strong cultivator in purple clothes glanced at Lin Feng and followed them. But the cultivator in purple clothes waited for Lin Feng to walk next to him and whispered, "This is the Master's small world. I know you still have your old memories, but here you must listen to your Master and honor the Celestial Qi Castle." "I understand," said Lin Feng, nodding, and then he didn't say anything else. After a short time, they left the forest, and some people appeared in their field of vision. Lin Feng calmly glanced at them. He recognized some of the people he knew. Ban Ruali Hen Xingzhan. They were captured before him. Apart from them, there was also Yuan Fei and Wu Tian from the Abyss of Sufferings. Mu Chen had used his transformation spell to help people escape, But he couldn't help them all. Strength was one thing, luck was another. But it seemed that more people had escaped than he had first guessed. Those people also saw Lin Feng. Although they were surprised, especially Yuan Fei and Tiantai's disciples, it was only a strange feeling. For them, the Celestial Qi Castle was everything to them now. They were just surprised to see Lin Feng, so they nodded at him. Lin Feng was furious. He wanted to kill Master Mi, but he had to control himself. Nobody seemed to know that he wasn't being controlled. He was safe in the Celestial Qi Castle for now. Later, he would have opportunities to escape. "Come," said Master Mi to one of the people. It was a person from Ba Huang. He was tall and looked aggressive. "Kill him," said Master Mi, pointing at Lin Feng. Lin Feng was startled. Master Mi wanted to check his strength. "Arg!" that person shouted and ran towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng sensed the oppressive energies, but Lin Feng didn't flinch. He couldn't have Master Mi doubting him. A gigantic hand got closer, but Lin Feng raised his hands and released demonic qi in return. The two fists collided, and the ground beneath Lin Feng's feet exploded. "Arg!" That cultivator raised his head, and suddenly he became gigantic. He had turned into an ape. His voice made stones explode. It also made Lin Feng's brain shake violently. He was stronger than Yuan Fei. He already had the strength of the very top of the Zunqi layer. "Break!" shouted Lin Feng furiously. He released force and threw it ahead. The sky shook as the gigantic ape shouted again. Lin Feng's godly awareness shook violently. It felt as if his head was going to explode. After all, that ape had probably been there for 100 years. Even though he hadn't broken through to the Huangqi layer, he was still very strong. If he had fate seeds, do you think he'd become an emperor? Whispered Master Mi to the person in purple clothes. If it was certain that someone was going to get stuck at the top of the Zunqi layer, it was useless to waste fate seeds on them. Master, he needs a force multiplied by 1,000 first. If he can't learn that, then we don't need to give him any, said the person in purple clothes. Master Mi didn't reply, and continued watching the battle. The ape was on the ground now, and Lin Feng was bombarding him furiously. That person can already defeat the ape. This year, people are a lot stronger than 100 years ago. Too bad those pieces of trash only managed to capture a few of them, said Master Mi. Ask him his name, then take him to the Purple Army. Roger, Master, said the person in purple clothes. Master Mi thought Lin Feng was extremely strong. People who joined the Purple Army had the potential to break through to the Huangqi layer solely relying on their own abilities. All right, said Master Mi. The ape was going insane, but Master Mi stopped the battle. The ape then calmed down. Pay attention to him during the first few days, said Master Mi. Then he left. What's your name? Asked the one in purple clothes. Lin Feng, replied Lin Feng calmly. Lin Feng couldn't lie. Yuan Fei and the others were there after all. He couldn't hide his strength either. Yuan Fei and the others were controlled by Master Mi, so they'd report anything abnormal. Put those clothes on, said the person in purple, handing purple clothes to Lin Feng. Lin Feng said nothing and put them on. Disperse now, but you follow me, said the one in purple clothes. Everybody dispersed, and the one in purple clothes took Lin Feng to a celestial place. Lin Feng followed without saying anything. He was safe, that was enough. A short time after, the one in purple clothes and Lin Feng arrived in a celestial forest where there were many other people already seated. They were practicing cultivation, and their eyes were closed. They were also wearing purple clothes. Lin Feng couldn't sense their qi, so they were probably extremely strong. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.